Spilling the tea with Sandy.
Cayman's top news headlines of the day from CMR.
Brought to you exclusively on KISS FM by J. Michael, fashion for everyone. Good morning, Sandy.
Hey, good morning, Karen. How are you guys doing?
Good.
All
How are you?
right.
Awesome. So yeah, you've just mentioned the passing of rock and roll legend Tina Turner. So sad. 83 years old. Amazing life, amazing woman, amazing artist, and she will undoubtedly be missed. Yeah.
So
Um,
you must have in your news story today the sinking of the mermaid again.
Absolutely. That was coming up next. The iconic Cayman mermaid back to the bottom of the sea.
Is
Where
it down?
was it?
Well, wasn't it up by Morgan
Well,
Tower?
yes.
What happened?
I'm saying back as in mermaids, like, they live in the ocean.
Well, the thing was sunk before. It sank all the way to the bottom of the sea before, and they raised it.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
I didn't know that actually. But
Sorry,
Yeah.
I don't. Is
No,
this a
it's
boat or?
the mermaid, the party boat?
mermaid. Yeah.
Oh, the party boat. No, I thought you were talking about the mermaid at sunset. Again, it's already
No,
an action. Okay, a
no,
boat.
the party boat,
So where's that now?
the double decker.
Yeah. Now,
Well,
where's
it is now. I guess I don't know if it's completed sinking, but it was sinking yesterday. In is it Governor's Harbor? Yes, Governor's Harbor. The Department of Environment checked on it. Their conservation officers, and they basically said that it doesn't pose any immediate threats to the water or marine life.
Well, I'm
So
sure it
I
has
don't
fuel.
know what's good. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what's going to happen. Are they going to just
there's
leave it
so
there?
many.
Or?
Yeah, I don't get this. All the abandoned boats that are just lying around. I don't. You see them all the time.
Yeah.
I don't get why there's not like an action. Like, who owns these and should they be
Well,
taken?
I
to the
heard
water?
that my sources say that the person who owned this particular one was, he basically passed away.
Because during a hurricane, I
Basically.
mean, that could go into someone's house.
Yeah, I
Like,
mean,
any
for
of these
sure.
boats that are just chilling
Uh,
out there.
Yeah, you hope there's some regulations that govern
Yeah.
derelict boats, just like derelict vehicles, but who knows?
Yeah.
We'll certainly ask the Department of Environmental Health. Maybe they might know. Seems logical that it could be them.
Mhm.
Let's move on to another story. Hotel Indigo, Grand Cayman, is scheduled to open in 2024,
Really?
right on schedule. Yes, they're going to be welcoming guests, they say, in the second quarter
Wow.
of 2024. I know
That's
this is the
fast.
latest. This is the latest in Dart's hospitality portfolio.
Is
10-story hotel.
the
being-
concrete even going to be cured by then?
Yeah.
That's fast.
The 10-story hotel
Amazing.
being constructed along the Sacha Tibbetts Highway, just south of the Kimpton Seafire Resort and Spa, will feature 282 rooms and a 6,700 square foot ballroom.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's going to serve for local events and tourist-focused conferences and events. So that's fantastic because, there's always people like, oh, we don't have enough conference space and so on. I think now there's enough between the Kimpton, the Ritz, and now this Indigo property coming on board. And there's some smaller properties as well that
Yeah.
can accommodate conferences and
I want to
events.
put it out there. I hope they're friendly to the locals with their prices, at least for a short amount of time. Do you remember, one of the nice things about lockdown, there weren't that many, was that you could go and have a staycation and
Yeah.
you could rent one of those bungalows, those fabulous bungalows at the Kimpton Seafire for like $500 a night.
Yeah.
And now they're like $3,000 a night.
Wow.
Mhm.
It's so expensive. But it'd be great to stay in the new hotel if you're
Yeah.
local. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't know what their plans are in terms of that aspect of it, but certainly,
Everyone who lives here gets
Let
a
you
free
guys
night stay. Anytime.
I seriously doubt that's going to
I
happen.
do too.
But yeah, congratulations to the folks over at Dart. I mean, I think we have. You know what is crazy though? I understand that in high season that we don't have enough capacity when it comes to rooms. So I mean, we think we have a lot of hotel rooms, but if we're trying to grow a tourism product, I guess we need to be in the know. Big shout out to the Customs Department or CBC. The Cayman Islands is actually going to be hosting the Caribbean Customs Conference. Speaking of conferences,
I was just going to say, did you just give a shout out to the customs?
I know. Trust me, stranger things have happened. But this is the 45th conference to be held from June the 7th through the 9th, and it's for the Caribbean Customs Law Enforcement Council. So they're a regional organization that promotes cooperation among customs and law enforcement agencies in the region. And, I guess they must have this conference every so often. So there's going to be representatives and officials from around the region, as well as the UK, the US, Spain, and the Netherlands, to discuss regional challenges and share best practices. So about 50 delegates are expected to attend the conference. And the Cayman Islands government said that, they're obviously honored to be able to host this very important event this time. So there you go.
All right.
Congratulations to CBC Director Charles Clifford and the Cayman Islands government.
We'll catch Sandy's show right now on Bobo 89.1 FM, the number one talk show in Cayman.
Hey.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Have a good one, guys. All right.
Bigger, better, bolder. The cold, hard truth is taking talk to the next level. Right here on Bobo 89.1 FM, Cayman's community radio.
We are still spilling the tea.
And committed to being part of the change that Cayman so desperately needs. Join Sandy Hill weekdays from 7:30 a.m. for Premier Access, Cayman Voices, Truthful Thursdays, and much more. Cayman's number one talk show is now bigger, better, bolder, and more than talk. Getting results with hot topics, consumer reports, court exposés, and more.
I've come to set the record straight. I've come to shine the light on you. Let me introduce myself. I am the cold, hard truth.
Now, from the CMR studio in Grand Cayman,
Live, direct.
it's the cold, hard truth. Now, join the conversation on 345-936-2626.
That number again is
345-936-2626.
All right, rise and shine, beautiful people. Hello, good morning. How are you guys doing? How you doing? Y'all look like you're a little bit slow this morning. I can see you're taking your time waking up. So let me make sure I send out the links, because I think everybody's sitting there going, oh, I can't wake up this morning. This is one of those mornings where we obviously need that wake up song. I feel it coming. What do y'all say? Oh, yeah. Hold on now. Let me get it. Let me get it. I know y'all love this wake up song as much as I do. Let's play a little snippet this morning. Here we go. I know. I love the horn. It's like, come on, pay attention. Pay attention. And then you start clapping a little bit. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
Everybody wake up. Wake up.
Wake up.
Everybody wake up. Wake up.
Wake up.
Open your eyes. Jump out of bed. Open your eyes. Jump out of bed. If you're on the bottom bunk, don't bump your head.
Wow. Wake up, Cayman.
Everybody wake up. Wake up.
Wake up.
Everybody wake up. Wake up.
Wake up.
Find your shoes.
Oh
Find
yeah,
your
I got my
sock.
shoes.
Find your
No sock,
shoes.
I got my
Find your other
shoes.
sock. Don't hit the snooze on your alarm clock.
Some mornings it's hard not to hit that snooze button, right?
Everybody
Oh my
wake
gosh.
up. Wake up. Everybody wake up. Wake up.
Wake up.
Everybody
All right. Who's feeling it with me? You guys like, no, not that song. Sometimes I play that for my daughter when I can see she's getting a slow start. I tell Alexa, I'm like, Alexa, play the wake up song. And it's like, she starts smiling right away when she hears it. Yeah, why not? You got to wake up with a smile on your face, honey chill. Be grateful. Life is fantastic. Rise and shine, says Miss Ann. Yes, honey child. I'm feeling it. I got some new honey child mugs coming soon. Who do we have? Who's definitely woken up this morning with me? Miss Vernita is always here. Good morning to Daisy. Daisy says, good morning, buenos dias. Olivia's like, I'm awake. I'm here. I'm present. When you were in university and you had to do those early morning classes, oh God, how many of you avoided early morning classes? You'd be like, oh no, do you not have this class at midday or afternoon? I tell you, Siobhan, good morning. Good morning to First Lady Jayanne. Yes, have a blessed and safe day, she says. Wee Wee is here. Miss Morna is awake. Stephanie, she's wide awake and listening. Felicia, Miss Dean, Carmelie says that she's awake. Good morning, Carmelie. Marshall is also with us. We've got Diamond Princess Sapphire here. Siobhan having a laugh at the song. Dory, the beautiful Dory, says good morning and blessed Thursday. Can you believe it's Thursday already? Well, doesn't it feel like it was just yesterday that I was saying how much I love a Monday? And it was Monday. And look, now today's Thursday. Time is just flying by, honey Jill. You got to get it. Carmelie says, did not know that you could dance. I hardly call the wake up song jingle a real dance, but all right, honey, I'll take it. Miss Iva, good morning. Siobhan says, I'm here, but not fully awake. And I just woke up. Do we need a little bit more of that wake up song to get you going? Hold on, just a little.
Wake up, everybody wake up, wake up. Toothbrush, toothpaste.
Yeah, brush those teeth when you get up, honey child.
Your face.
Yeah.
Roll out, sound off. It's time to get up, you gotta get up. It's time to get up this morning.
Yay, time to get up. Siobhan is like, I'm doing it. No, we don't want to play again. Hold on. It's about to repeat. Miss Marjorie is here. She says, I'm here. Good morning, Aliano. Good morning, Diana. How are you? Rise and shine, honey chow. Evelyn, Everton, Omiria, I have not seen you in a minute. She says, good morning to all three of the beautiful Cayman Islands. Yes, you are most welcome, Dory. Siobhan says, I like the song actually, though, Miss Sandy. I was laughing because you wanted to play it. Yes. Oh, look at that. Kurt Grizel in the house. Good morning to Kurt. Good morning. So listen, I was thinking this morning as I was getting ready. I didn't want to roll out of bed either. Get my little tea over, pull my tea, my water this way. I didn't want to get up in bed. I was like, I hit the snooze button. I was up at 5:30, let the dog out. And then I was like, I'm going to lay back down, hit the snooze button. And I was thinking, every single morning I stand here for 3 hours. Most mornings I'm standing. And so I've been thinking about this for a minute. I've got to find a way, because to me, this is a perfect window, a perfect opportunity for me to do something else while I'm standing here. Now, I know y'all are going to think this is crazy because my brain is actually already working and thinking and doing stuff. But I'm thinking I could be doing more than just standing. So I think I need to get one of those under the desk treadmills, like the little miniature ones where I could be walking at the same time. I mean, I probably can only do 5 minutes the first day because, walking and talking is a lot. Or my bicycle. I got a bicycle in the gym. So I'm thinking maybe I roll the bicycle over here. And in the mornings, I sit here and do half the show, or maybe not half initially. It's going to take, when you not got that aerobic stamina, it takes a minute to work it up, right? But I'm thinking a little 10, 15 minutes on the bike while we're saying good morning. And then that way I'm multitasking, obviously. But I'm getting some exercise in every single morning, and I'm not really thinking about it. So this idea has been rolling around in that little brain of mine for a minute, and I think I might try it. Let me know what you guys think, honey chill. We got lots of fitness people around here, so you guys will have to tell me what you think about that. Why is this app telling me to upgrade? Didn't I upgrade this already? These people are always trying to take my hard-earned money. Honey child, you gotta make sure that you're paying attention, because people love to take your money if you're not paying attention. I could swear that I just upgraded. Anyway, let me get to the bottom of this. I am not gonna pay twice for something. Believe me, you. I'll be like, no, honey, y'all ain't getting me twice. They claim I didn't pay, but I feel like I paid already. So let me just shoot them a quick email. All right. Okay. All right, folks. Money is hard to come by these days, so you got to make sure you spend it wisely and you keep it too. For this service about 2 weeks ago, 1 or 2 weeks ago. Yeah, make sure now. Okay, this is one of those apps that's supposed to be helping me to be more efficient, but Lord, sometimes I really must wonder. Mm-mm. Efficiency and drive me crazy at the same time, honey. Chill. Let me just check my emails for something real quick. So anyway, what do you guys think about this idea of mine? Not every idea I have is a good idea. I'm willing to admit it. Some of them are downright horrible ideas. But yeah, I was thinking about it. See, I found an email from the 10th that says you have officially upgraded. So why they trying to get me? Why are they trying to get me to spend more money? Talking about I haven't upgraded. Y'all are trying to cheat me out of my money. Let me send them an email now. I see an email from May the 10th confirming that you have officially upgraded. Yeah. So what you messaging me here for about upgrading? Can't trust these people, you know. Yes, honey child. Make sure y'all know now. Operating system, we use Windows. Type of account. Well, obviously I paid. So give me my money. Yes, honey chill. All right, we sent them a little ticket. You got to pay attention. Even when you go to the grocery store, some people have been complaining about this to me recently. Not at the grocery store, but that has happened before. You go into a restaurant, the board says one thing, and then you get your receipt and it says something else. I've seen a few people in the women's group complaining. Some people have sent me private messages, you know, and again, we go back to this whole idea that we live in the Cayman Islands, supposedly one of the most, I don't want to use the word advanced, but that's what they tell us, places in the region for sure, and amongst the world, and we're so this and we're so that, financial center, blah, blah, blah. And some basic things we simply do not have in place. I mean, like consumer protection. In places, United States of America, the UK, whatever you advertise, right? There has to be truth in advertising. So on your board, if it says one chicken finger is $1.99, you can't come and be charging me $2. And some people are so dishonest and they know that these loopholes exist in the system, right? There was this guy, I got to tell y'all a story. Poor Kirtan, his name was Kirtan. May he rest in peace. But boy, he was a little bit shady when it came to business back in the day. If CMR was around, he would have been featured on here all the time because the number of complaints I used to get about his business was crazy. He had this little business called CompuK. Some of you might remember. And he had a service which was say it was $49.99, right? Because what he did was his competition was doing it for $50. So marketing ploy, he came in at $49.99. And the human brain hears $49.99. Y'all run to that versus paying $50 because you think you're getting a deal. That's no deal, honey chill. That just means you have to have a lot of pennies on hand, which is a complete waste. So, but what he would do is people would walk in. Obviously, our currency is $25, $50, $10, $5, whatever. They would hand him a $50 bill and he'd be like, thank you. And he wouldn't give them change. And there was one lady, I'll never forget, she made me chuckle, Miss Henderson, Judge Henderson's wife. She's now passed away as well. And she said to me one day, she's like, you know, that's just wrong. If he's going to advertise it at $49.99, I'm not trying to be a bee, but I'm going to pay $49.99 because that is what the advert says. It doesn't say $50. And I just looked at her and I was kind of, in my brain, I was virtually sipping my tea, honey child. I was like, yes, honey, you go get him. Because he thinks everybody fool. Right? It was just marketing from his perspective. But for people, it's money. A penny is a penny. And it is what it is. So Siobhan says, oh, you can't go all in if you're like that. But yeah, exercise definitely. You see, I feel like the brain can adjust to certain things. I don't know that I'd be able to do it like the entire show, because you can even see when I'm doing certain things, like if I start to send an email message, my brain, when it comes to talking to you, automatically slows down that process. Because really and truly, the concept of multitasking is like fake news. You can't really multitask well. You can do multiple things at once, but you're not going to do any one thing well, right? So I'm a little bit curious too as to whether or not I would be able to do it. But you know what? What do we say here in this island? Nothing beats a trial but a failure. Is that the right way of saying it? I always get these sayings reversed, but I think that's what it is. Nothing beats a trial but a failure. So guess what? We're gonna try it. I'm gonna try it. I feel for some reason the cycling would be easier, and this is just my logic, for lack of a better word, because it's not necessarily logical, but I feel like cycling would be easier than walking and talking. I don't know why I think that, but I think because I'm sitting down, number one, but we walk and talk kind of all the time. I don't know. I feel like cycling would be easier. So I think I'm going to start off with the cycling and see what happens. Good morning, Miss Sonia. Alejandro says, morning, Ma. What's up? What's up? Sonia is wishing everyone a productive day. Alejandro says, yes, there's small shops here that charge 10 cents more than price. And I got no problem with tax, but the 10 cents extra is still extra money. But we're not supposed to be paying any taxes here. It's like people who charge you. This is another pet peeve when it comes to lack of consumer protection. People who charge you, what's it called? An extra fee to use your credit or debit card. Now, I'm pretty sure that's actually against the rules as a merchant, and yet people do it all the time. And nobody, I guess, is reporting it. So, it just doesn't happen. I think something should be done about that, because that's the merchant. If the merchant companies, like, the banks basically, have these contracts with MasterCard and Visa and whatever, and that's against the rules and you're doing it, they shouldn't give you a card machine. Because you pay to play, right? I have a card machine. I know how it works. They give you a certain rate based on different factors, volume, transaction volume, and whatever. That's how they make their money. Speaking of which, CNB, where's my new machine? I've been waiting patiently now. And I was told like 2 months ago, it should be in a couple of weeks. And it's been a minute now. I like the new ones. They look so much more secure and they're faster. I can tell when I use one at, the grocery store or whatever, how much faster they are. So you're not supposed to do that either. People here it's a free for all. Y'all do whatever you want because there's nothing in place to protect consumers or anything. Vicky has a suggestion. She says, ask Logic to add your radio station to their cable package, other radios on there. Really? Well, I don't have Logic TV, but other radio as in local radio or like worldwide radio? Who owns Logic these days? Logic TV, who is that? That's interesting. KK says Logic is BS. Oh, geez, I'm peace. I don't know. How many of you sit down and turn on the TV to listen to a radio? Another person says several restaurants in Cayman automatically charge gratuity and a service charge, which is wrong too. So wait a minute. They're charging you two things? Well, what's the difference between gratuity and a service charge? Aren't they normally like kind of the same thing? So they're double dipping? Why are they doing that? They're just ripping you off. Some restaurants charge you gratuity on a pickup order. It's like, I'm going to come and pick up something and you want to charge me. What's the gratuity for? You didn't serve. Somebody in the kitchen, I guess, plated it in the to-go container. Yeah, one time I had to call out one Italian restaurant about that. I'm like, I don't pay no gratuity on a pickup order. You people are crazy. You got to look at your receipts. The bottom line is you've got to pay attention. Okay, this person says, while you're standing, you can relax and contract your calf muscles, thigh and glute muscles. Good for blood flow and toning. And you know what I've been into lately? I haven't started yet. It's like I have to process certain things in my head before I'm ready to kick it off, right? In other words, let me break it down. That's my excuse for why I'm not moving and why I'm being lazy, to be honest. Just being honest with y'all. It is shows called The Cold Hard Truth, and I'm going to use the cold hard truth in myself. So I like to ruminate on things way too long when it comes to getting physical. So I just need to do it. But lately, I've been really feeling this whole Tai Chi situation. I've been subscribing to a lot of like Facebook pages, Tai Chi rolls and reels and stuff. And oh my God, everything looks like so kung fu-ish and slow and methodical. But some of the most amazing movements that are good for like back pain, good for joint flexibility, like the works. So I want to incorporate some of that into my, daily regime as well. Because it's not just about hardcore exercise. When people think of exercising, they're like, oh, I need to go run a marathon or a half marathon or pump all these weights. Weightlifting is extremely important. Weight-bearing exercises, extremely important. Maybe even a tips more than cardio because it gives you like cardio benefits and more, right? And once you start doing it, your metabolism is working even when you're not doing anything, even when you're in rest mode, if you're lifting weights and you're doing it the right way. But, other things are important too. Yoga, Pilates, flexibility is important. I've seen you see some people like they walk into the gym, those muscled up guys in each they look like they be pumping, their testosterone pills and whatever. They're so muscled up, they can't even close their legs properly. And, the women are like this, they can't put their arms down. That's not my definition of attractive, but I know some of y'all like it. But a lot of those individuals, they're just overly muscled up, but they don't have any flexibility. You ask them to go do a split, to kind of bend backward, child, they ain't got no flexibility. No flexibility in the hip and the flexor, nothing. And so I look at them like kind of chuckle because to me, I think it's important to have a little bit of everything. Be more flexible, do a little bit of weights. You don't have to go overboard with the weights. Do some cardio to get the heart pumping, asymmetric exercises. You can use your own body weight as well. You don't need a whole lot of heavy things that you got to go buy, purchase. Ms. Vanita says that's false advertising. It's happening a lot around here. One price on the menu. And when you get the bill, it's another price plus gratuity. And then the thing about it is they don't tell you. So let's assume for a minute, right, that the price has gone up and it's changed. Okay. And no one has decided to change the board or change the menu because now they got to reprint all new menus. They got to redo the board. They could at least tell you at the time of ordering that item has increased in price. They don't tell you. They just make you purchase their food, hand you your receipt, and you're out the door. So it's only if you're really looking at your receipt and looking at the board and paying attention that you realize that you're being had. I'm just saying. That's exactly what's going on. So that's wrong, though, in my opinion. I think legally it's wrong. And there has to be some truth in advertising. I'm going to see if I can find one of these posts actually about this because people really have been upset about it. I can't blame them, because the truth is a lot of times you don't even look at your receipt. You just assume, that what you paid for is what you're getting. Like you're thinking, oh, that said $5.99. I don't need to look at the receipt. And then when you look at the receipt, it's like $6.99, $7.99, whatever, a couple of dollars more. And you're feeling like you've been hoodwinked. So if I can find that post, I'll give you all an example of overcharging people wrongfully. Yep, you got to look out for these things. Here's one. This is from June of last year. So this person says, I understand that the cost of everything has gone up, but to bump up the price of items to $2+ seems an exaggeration. Oh, I don't think that this one, I think this one changed the board. So that's not the exact situation. Hold on. Let me see somebody who hadn't changed the board. There was one recently. These people complain about a lot of stuff price-wise, but I'll try to see if I can find it. But anyway, the basic principle is whatever your board says. And some restaurants have kind of gotten with the program in the sense that they now use like computerized boards. So when they need to change something, pricing or the menu, whatever, it's fairly easy to do. You just have the pricing on the board updated. So a lot of restaurants you go in now, they don't even have physical menus. Remember during COVID, nobody wanted to give you a physical menu anyway, because all the COVID germs and whatever, they're like, just scan this barcode. And then the barcode took you to where you needed to go. All right. We've got a guest joining us in the studio in just a little bit. So let's talk about some big news. Morning to Miss Lucille. She says she's waking up before you all. Stay blessed. Not so hot. Says, want to know what I don't like. I don't like these restaurants charging 15% gratuity when I don't think the server deserves it. Yeah, that's a tough one. Thanks, Miss Vicky. I'm going to look into that. But that is a tough one because most of them here do it. And in the States, it's an oddity to have it automatically added in unless it's a larger party. Then they'll say like parties of, 6+ or whatever. They'll kind of do it for those larger parties. But what I like now, a lot of places in the US, because they don't do it, what they do on the receipt is they'll have a breakdown of telling you, like, if you want to do 10%, 15%, 20%, whatever, here's what it is, so that you don't have to do the math. It automatically comes with the math on it. So KK says radio stations on TV, yes, but nobody's going to listen to that. She also says grats is usually when you eat in, ? Yeah, but people want to charge it when you're doing takeout as well. It's crazy. Always look at your receipts, folks. KY345 says, while you're at it, speak about the banks charging a 20-cent per debit card transaction, 50 cents on ATM withdrawals, and $2 each over the counter withdrawals. And I mean, they've been charging these fees for a long time, honey chill. Here's what you don't pay for normally. I mean, I don't know about any other bank, but I know CNB doesn't do it. You don't pay for any online transaction. So here's the crazy part. If I order a draft in person, I pay for that. If I go online and order it, that transaction is free. Now, my brain is kind of like, aren't you still printing? I'm not trying to give them any ideas to charge me, but I'm like, don't you still use paper to print the draft? The draft is still physical. But I guess what they're thinking about is the time of like their staff having to help you with the draft. So do it online. Get on board with online banking, y'all. I love online banking. I love paying bills online. You get to just see what's going on. You can check everything. Carmelie, will come to that guy a little bit later on in the show. She's trying to expose another scammer. One quick update before we welcome our guest in the studio is yesterday, I'm sure that you guys, were listening to the show with Georgie Banks yesterday and the young lady that was on the program. The good news is she finally got her documents, so we got a resolution. So we're not just here to flap our lips for no reason. We're flapping our lips with hope that the right thing in the end will be done, right? So she got her documents back, so now she can go file them on her own. And he gave her $300 of the $500 back. And supposedly she's going to get the rest today. Now, he did message and tell her that Oh gosh, what's this other one? She did. He did message and tell her that she is. He's gonna take out. This is what he said. Hope you know. He's so rude. This dude is just so rude. Hope you know. I'll be deducting $50 for consultation fee. Normally it's $125. He's just all over the place with his fees. Because I did meet with you to advise how to go about with the WORC filing. No, actually you met with her to get her paperwork because you were supposed to do the filing. But anyway, whatever. So once again, you get a $75 discount. Oh, you're doing her such a favor. Just give the woman her money back. Why did you have to share on CMR about my wife and BFF being off island though? Don't you think that's very personal information just told to you? No, it was an excuse that you're probably telling everybody as to why you couldn't pay your bills. Then he says, wow, you're really into drama, I tell you. But that's your style, it seems. Wow. No, George, this is actually your style. You're the one who's full of drama. And then he goes on, he says, once again, you're just dropping off forms, but as you told Sandra, I could have done the filing all by myself. And he puts that in quotations. Will not work out, okay? I don't want anything more to do with the filing, however. But if you're not approved, do not blame me for that, okay? Your net income cannot support 7 children. The woman says she doesn't even know what he's talking about because she doesn't have 7 children. Like, this dude is just all over the place. So he kept messaging her during and after the show. And she kept telling him, stop messaging me. I just want my documents. Then he was like, you can come and bring the documents. He kept going on about this ring that he supposedly gives everybody. He told her to come after 1 o'clock for the cash. And so all I can say now is she's gotten $300 out of the $500. For him to now say, oh, he's going to deduct $75 for a so-called consultation fee is less than, that's just theft in my opinion. There was no consultation. He was actually supposed to do the work and never did it. So another person's asking about restaurants charging gratuities and takeout. I do not think so. So somebody says, good morning. Wendy's is a prime example. Thank God don't eat there often. So prime example of the board says one thing and they charge you something else. I mean, I wonder if the managers need this to be brought to their attention or what. So I don't know. Good morning, Karen. Andrea's listening. We got lots of people listening. So we'll pick up on some other bits after a guest this morning. We're going to talk about the Cayman Mermaid. We're going to talk a little bit about Tina Turner. KK says that she loves online banking. Easy peasy. CNB, big up yourself. Yes. Cayman National, got it going on. And they've got the island's best security. I say this without fail because they're always locking my card until I message them back. And they emailed me and we just saw a suspicious transaction. And the other day I said to them, me shopping on Amazon is suspicious? Honey child, do y'all pay attention to my spending habits? But they said what was suspicious is that it closely followed another transaction that was suspicious. So they were like, let's email you. And I appreciate it. Trust me. All right. So Ali says, since you're on the topic of being hoodwinked, isn't CUC on today? Can you confirm why they're tricking people into $500 deposit on existing accounts by intentionally not disclosing the requirement to simply change your name? Huh? All right, Ali, we're going to get to that. I don't know. What do you mean change your name? I don't know what that's about. Well, we got Sacha here. He's VP of customer service and more. So we will certainly bring him into the show. I think a lot of times, Ali, people are not reading the fine print and the information, because I'm pretty sure that these policies with organizations like whether it's the bank or CUC or whatever have been in place a really long time. And the fact that nobody reads their contract and nobody knows that it exists does not mean that it doesn't exist. right? So we'll find out. Let's bring Sasha on. Hello, Sasha. Good morning. How are you?
Morning. How are you doing?
Oh, we're fantastic. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Did you change your background? Is that the same old place, or are you redecorating?
It's a new camera. You're very observant, Sasha.
There you go.
Same background, but different camera. So the other one had more of a what they call a bouquet effect, where it was kind of blurred out. So this one is a little bit crisper, and people seem to like this view a little bit more.
Maybe I'm just noticing the printer for the first time.
Yes, it's always been there.
There you go.
So Sasha, let's ask before we get into talking about today's discussion. Let's address Allie's question straight out of the barn. So what is this policy about? I'm not quite sure that I'm following her because I don't know about it myself. But is there something about changing your name? Why would you need to change your name on an account? Tell us what this is all about.
Not sure about her particular situation, but all accounts require a service deposit. So it might be that she was changing a name on an account, and so it's viewed as a new account. So if there wasn't a service deposit before, the new account would attract a service deposit. So that's sort of the service deposit policy, something that came in several years ago. So it might be that's what she's referring to, that they're with an account name change, it's a fresh account. And so it is looked at as like a new application.
And I hear sometimes too, I think people don't understand things. And maybe this is where, we have like a sort of like a Q&A or an FAQ segment on here for the benefit of people. Like, what do you need when you open an account? What deposits are required? How it works? And because, I even hear people say, oh, somebody has died. Like say the account was in my grandma's name, right? And she died 5 years ago and I never got around to changing it. And then CUC says, hey, by the way, you need to change this into your name, because if anything happens, you can't go for a dead person. You can't go after dead person, right? For bad debt. So, there's logical reasons why companies have certain policies in place. But I find that a lot of people just don't know what the policies are. Maybe they don't read, like I said, they're definitely not reading the contracts or the fine print. So maybe we have a segment one day, Sasha, where we just do like a basic FAQ.
Yeah, that'd be great. I think Nichelle and Jeever won a few weeks ago. They'll be fantastic for that sort of thing, because it is there have been a few changes, and the thing is, many people don't really interact with CUC frequently, particularly if they haven't moved. So maybe the last time that they interacted with us is maybe 7-8 years ago, other than paying bills and power outages and stuff like that. So they wouldn't be aware of any changes we've made in terms of policies or procedures for doing work with us. A lot of the, you were talking about CNB and their online banking. CUC's also moved to a lot of online service. In fact, you can do everything that you would want to do with us via phone or email or a website. And many people don't know that, because they haven't had to do anything with us for the last 8 years, or actually even 4 years. It's all started while we were all shut down in COVID, and we were required to do it that way. So yeah, I mean, it would be great to talk about that on a show and get the experts on that.
Yeah. All right. So I see
exactly how it's done.
Yeah, Not So Hot has a question about the deposit as well and change of name. So let's sort of park some of those questions, Ali and Not So Hot, because Sasha is really here to talk about the future of energy. So he's here to speak on something very, very specific. But we will reach out to, like you said, maybe Jiva and Nichelle are more appropriate to answer those types of questions. We'll have them come in and do a whole FAQ segment and all the things that you need to know. I think that's a great idea. All right. So Sasha, what is the future of energy?
Hopefully very bright. It's
no pun intended.
No pun from the light company, right? Exactly. So, we're at a really exciting time. There's a lot of technology changes that are happening in the energy space. A lot of advancements that are going to really allow Cayman to move away from a diesel-powered system to a majority renewable energy, whether that's solar or wind or something else. And it's a really exciting time. The power system that was put together, and it is still the one that we're primarily using today, is not is fairly well understood technology, but it's not simple, and there's a lot of things that make it work and make it reliable like how it is today. And so changing from that with our reliability and taking on new technologies, and keeping that service reliability is a really interesting task, and certainly one that we're working on pretty much every day. That little picture you got there showing this, I believe that's the Bodentown solar plant, which we went out and we started the procurement for that back in 2011, and then I think it finally went in service in 2017. Is a good example of what we see happening here, in a very big way. That plant's what would be typically called sort of a utility scale. It's primarily there just to generate power and sell it. It's not serving any individual customer type of thing. And it is right now the lowest cost form of energy on the grid in Grand Cayman.
Wow. Okay. So when we talk about solar, I mean, a lot of people I think are still coming to a degree of understanding about what that means and the different ways in which it can be utilized by people here. Some people kind of get the concept at the sort of micro level of you can have solar panels, on your house top, on your roof, and that can supply and offset, what you're using in terms of energy, as long as you've got panels that can, take in a certain amount of what the sun has to offer. But there's a potential and there's an idea, and we've seen a little bit of applications of it. Like take, for example, at Cayman Bay, they've got the big solar panels on the top of like their parking garages and so on, parking lots, right? So there is a concept of it being used in a much larger way.
Yeah.
Is that what we mean when we say utility scale solar?
Yeah. So it's hard. There've been some interesting discussions about what is utility scale. And there really is no universal definition of that. Every single jurisdiction kind of takes its own sort of view on what it is. And in general, the way that we look at it is utility scale is anything that's large enough and is designed to really serve as it's just selling power to the grid, right? It's a commercial entity. It's designed to sell power and really be in business of selling power. And when somebody is doing that, anybody, whether it's CUC or another power company or even a private individual, they then need that system to perform like a utility style system. It needs to be cost competitive. It needs to be reliable, et cetera, et cetera. And that should really not be any difficulty with that kind of thing, because the technology is viable to do that type of thing. And the costs are low enough that anything of the size of what you're showing on the screen now, which is I said that was built in 2015 or 16 and put online in 2017. The costs of doing that now are, I would say, probably less than half of what was paid for this. And so if you think about that, and this is already the lowest cost power on the grid, well, the next one should be far lower, right? And so that's what we're really looking for with the utility scale, is the more and more that we can get of that, the lower and lower cost we can see on the grid. To compete between solar and diesel is super easy. It's like shooting fish in a barrel in terms of in terms of lowering costs, and there seems to be a lot of barriers to utility scale, and actually it seems like none of them are with respect to people not wanting to do solar, but more things like who's going to do it. And you see there's a lot of playing going on in the market where if we would just get on with it and even do the competitive tender that we've been talking about for a while, we would be so much better off. CUC's put together a sample project that we designed in 2019, And that project alone would be saving Cayman today with fuel rates over $10 million a year. Just one project,
Wow.
would save $10 million a year in fuel costs. And that's not just the total cost of the fuel, that's the net. So removing fuel cost, replacing it with solar cost, the net difference would be $10 million. That's one project. And so, the more and more time that we spend on thinking about how we're going to do this and when we're going to do this and how we're going to do it perfectly, it's leaving money on the table for the country that could be spent elsewhere.
And what about the criticism that people say, hold on a second, CUC has been, in the business of providing, obviously, utility service for a really, really long time. Why should they be potentially at the forefront of doing it with solar? How do you respond to that criticism that maybe CUC shouldn't be the ones to be involved?
I don't really understand it because I do understand it, but when you look at all of the facts of CUC as a company, yes, the service is expensive, but it's primarily expensive because we're using a fuel that is the majority of the cost. When you look at the actual service level, yes, that there are service errors and so on that happen that we can do better on. But by and large, the reliability of service from CUC, it's the best in the Caribbean, which is pretty indisputable. And even with our costs, we are middle of the pack compared to the rest of the Caribbean, with really only large countries that either have a good amount of renewable energy because of wind resources or hydro resources, or in the case of Trinidad, where they get their fuel for free. Those are the type of countries that are beating us on cost. When you compare ourselves to our neighbors, who are substantially larger than us next door in Jamaica, our costs are actually lower in many cases than Jamaican rates. Now, the average Jamaican household pays less per month, but that's because they're using less electricity and less air conditioning load than the average Caymanian house is. So, costs are, in terms of the dollars per kilowatt hour, CUC is extremely competitive. So that's why I say I don't understand why people would not want CUC to do solar. In general, the laws are set up now that any new generation should be competitively tendered, right? And we support that. We signed on for it back in 2008, and we actually entered the first competition for a generation in 2013-14, and that was a diesel tender, yes, and we did win it. But I don't see why we should not be allowed to provide an option for the country on a solar scale, and anybody who says they want to have competition, but they don't want a particular player to play in the competition is perhaps not really looking for the best result. Maybe, that's like saying, oh, okay, once you win the heavyweight title, you're no longer allowed to box because you're the best person and the next person can't win. That doesn't make sense to me, right? If CUC ends up being the best bid, that's what's best for the country. If we're not, then the other bidder that has a better bid is what's best for the country, and CUC will happily sign on with them, right? So, like I said, I don't understand the move that's going on. Well, it doesn't make sense to consider why would CUC not play in this space if CUC has a compelling offer to provide.
Yep. All right, caller. Good morning and welcome to the program.
Morning.
Morning.
I have two questions. When Sacha was talking about the utility scale, he used the word individual in there, and I'm not sure whether that includes an individual who's producing more than they need for themselves in their own home, or are you talking about an individual who has a trading as business? Like what do you mean individual?
Yeah, so I think this is Denny. Hi, Denny. So what I'm referring to there is, so the picture that Sandy has up on the screen is the Bontown solar plant. And it's within the realm of possibility that a local company or a local person would have the means of investing in something of that size, right? So that's kind of what I'm referring to, and that anybody that is, and this is really a regulatory type discussion, and perhaps I shouldn't speak for the regulator, but in my view, and I think in the company's view, anybody that is generating electricity that is not really primarily for self-consumption really should be competing for the right to do so. In the instance which I think you're referring to, where somebody has a solar system on their home or their business, which is sized to primarily serve themselves, but at times of the day, because of the way solar is, there's an excess and it should go onto the grid. Those type of arrangements fit very well into a consumer program because they are in general a consumer of services from the grid, and they're also producing and sharing in the grid, but they are largely still what one would consider a consumer rather than an entity that's set up to provide power to the grid as their primary goal.
Okay. The reason I asked about the individual, because I think of that in a very strict sense. If you're going to be doing an industrial, commercial, if you're going to be doing a utility scale project, I doubt that a person would be doing that in their own name, right? And so they probably wouldn't be technically an individual anymore, right?
Yeah.
I just wanted to clarify that that language, because when you're talking about contractual things, using a term that defines one thing for something else gets confusing fast.
Yeah, no, and thanks for asking the question, because if you thought it, I'm sure others thought it. So, the intent was just recognizing that on the smaller side of the utility scale market, the investment level is certainly within the capability of certain individuals on the island, right? So, I would expect that a plant like the one that we're looking at here is somewhere in the $5 to $10 million investment range, which is a lot of money, but for some people on the island, it's well within their reach in terms of an investment portfolio type activity. So that was the only reason why I said that it could very well be in these smaller scales, that it's either an individual or a small local company that is able to do it if they're able to raise the capital.
One more question. What is the win rating of that facility in Bontown?
I'm not sure offhand, but I am certain that it complied with the BCU requirements at the time it was constructed. And in general, that's what we would expect moving forward. I believe BCU is now asking for survivability up to 182 mile an hour gusts, which is basically a Cat 5 rating. It's aligned very closely with the Miami-Dade ratings as well. And to design a solar plant to comply with that kind of wind rating requirement is not a difficult thing to do. Whether it's on a rooftop or on the ground. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just that I worry that you talk about reliability, and it's not if we're going to get a hurricane, right? And the worst scenario we could find ourselves in is having a hurricane come through and smash up several islands, and we're all on board with solar, and then we're all trying to get panels at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, and we think about that too, and there's a bit of a saving grace in at least in the medium term on how that would be managed. So there's another instance that is less catastrophic, but just as equally challenging. And that is and I think for those who have been around long enough know that we will almost certainly have week-long rainy, cloudy periods. And solar production during those weeks might be down to, at best, 10%.
Right.
And so if we've got all of our eggs in that basket, then what do we, because it's raining, because we have a long rainy tropical storm type of situation, we can't have power? No, that doesn't work. So the reality of the situation is the island will have backup generation, much like a local business would invest in, or some people do for their homes. And that backup generation would be CUC's existing power plant. And we're doing a lot of things to see how we can extend the life of that plant so that we don't have to invest in new engines to provide that backup. Right now our most efficient engines will run 8,000 hours a year. And maybe when we get all the solar that we're asking for, maybe they'll only run for 1,000 or 1,500 hours a year. But for that long week period, or if for some reason we have significant damage from a hurricane, the engines will be there until we can fix that damage.
Okay, Danny?
Well, all right.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Good questions, Danny. Thanks.
Yeah, some good things to think about for sure. So when we're talking about this utility scale solar versus rooftop solar, what are the differences? Like, people are going, okay.
Well, in very simple terms, thanks for the picture there. I think that's in Yacht Club. So in very simple terms, rooftop or distributed solar is typically placed on roofs of businesses and homes. It's usually much smaller scale, but it's the exact same technology. And there's really not much in between them in terms of how they behave. I think the one in terms of how they behave, that there is one sort of difference. On a utility scale plant, those plants are typically monitored and controlled by direct communications from the grid operator. And so if we need it to operate in a specific way, for example, instead of charging the battery, maybe we want to discharge the battery that's associated with it, we can send controls to that plant to make sure that it's playing with the grid in a way that's providing reliable service. On a small scale, like the one that you're showing there, let's say that's maybe 10 or 20 kW that's in the picture, having communications down to that very small amount is not very efficient, although I suspect moving forward we are going to have to develop ways of doing that, because as the rooftop industry grows, we're going to want a way to be able to send signals and say, hey, okay, all right, we need your battery to behave in a different way because the grid is having this sort of condition, and we need the storage to behave in a different way than the normal configuration. So that's probably the only technical difference between the two. On a financial level, there is a significant difference, and it's really not rocket science. But if you're buying 20 panels like what you're showing on that household, that might be about 30. That's a pallet of panels. If you're doing a utility scale project, it might be 140-foot containers. And so you can imagine that the purchasing process is far more efficient, and you get the economies of scale. And as a result, you can get the costs much lower on utility scale than you can on rooftop. But that doesn't mean that we shouldn't do rooftop. It just means that we have to recognize that there are different benefits. One of the things that rooftop can do that utility scale can't is, particularly if the customer also invests in storage, when there is a power outage, they can have continuity of service from their batteries. And also, as CUC develops various grid programs where consumers can do more than just export their excess energy, they may be able to provide grid support with their batteries and receive an additional credit for doing so. Those software programs don't exist, but the primary benefit, there's two benefits of distributed generation right now. The main one is for the consumers that own it, they can invest in rooftop solar and receive a savings on their electricity bill. That's the main reason why people are doing it now, because they're not having to burn expensive diesel fuel to get their engine. to get their energy, they're using energy from their solar system, and so they get a credit on their bill for that. The other benefit is, like I told you, if they have batteries, they can get continuity of service from their system. And also, if they have batteries and they're on a demand rate, like our large commercial customers are, they can use the battery to manage their demand charges. But I have to ask, what happens when the national energy policy goals are met? And I fully believe that they will be met. And the grid is 70% solar. And that solar was done in a way that it was super cheap, because we've done things in an efficient way. Are those grid savings a benefit to the end customer that has done the distributed generation still there? And I think the answer is going to be no, but that's probably 7, 8, 9, 10 years down the road. So for a customer investing in it now, it's probably a good deal. In the long run, I suspect that as the national energy policy goals are achieved, and there's a large amount of solar on the grid, whether it's from utility scale or distributed, and the cost of energy comes down, then in that case, well, there's not going to be a whole lot of savings to be had by putting the solar at your home. And the real benefit will remain to be that, in the event of an outage, you can use your solar and battery to self-serve your service. So, one of the parallels, and I hate to do a parallel between diesel and solar, but people understand it, right? So right now, people can buy diesel power from CUC at our prices, or they can put in a diesel generator at their business or home and self-supply. And that diesel generator will reliably supply them, at least for 3 months, until they need to do maintenance on it, etc. But everybody knows that is a higher cost way of doing it. So people don't do that because it's higher cost, because it's smaller, the economies of scale aren't there. But they still buy diesel generators because they want continuity of supply, right? So I think that in the long run, 10 years from now, when the grid is, say, somewhere between 50 and 100% renewable energy, and the costs are much lower than they are today, the attraction of putting solar and battery on your home will reduce to the level of what the attraction is now of buying a diesel generator to back up your home or business. But right now, it's very attractive to put solar and battery on your home, and I'm going to do it on mine when I build it because there's a big cost savings. But
let's talk about the cost savings.
It's going to go away in the long run.
Yeah, we've got Not So Hot saying that solar panels are way too expensive. I don't think it's worth it. Not So Hot goes on to say that the savings just go to the bank to pay off the loan, and then my insurance goes up to cover the panels. So it's not worth it. The price of the panels need to come down about 40% for it to be worth it for them. Then it's hit or miss during the rainy season. So Not So Hot coming up with every foreseeable argument against rooftop solar.
I'm not sure I agree with Not So Hot. I think there are situations where rooftop solar can provide a meaningful cost savings to customers. And I think you're a good example of that. I believe you're one of our core customers. And we have hundreds of them that have made that decision. And some people actually just say, look, hey, I want to be more environmentally friendly, right? There are some, usually it's on the corporation side. They're trying to get a LEED certification for their building or whatever, and they're trying to be more environmentally sustainable. And so they do it for that. They're not necessarily, they gladly take the cost savings, but they stack that as a benefit to themselves. But I do think that, especially today with the programs that CUC has and will have, and the cost of energy as it is today, that it is a good deal for customers who can afford it to get solar on their homes.
Yeah. No, I mean, I mean, Not So Hot. I'm not sure what kind of numbers you've been crunching and working with, but I can tell you again from personal experience, because we have solar panels and we did it a number of years ago, that even your like say you roll it into like your mortgage or whatever, right, to be able to pay for it. the amount that you're paying versus what you realize for us in savings right away. Like literally, we were in a credit for the longest time, and then our usage went up, which, you know, we're still saving $400 or $500 a month, but we weren't paying $400 or $500 extra on a mortgage, you know, because they, I mean, say it's $60,000. I mean, I don't know, to put your panels on, depends on how many panels you're getting, the size of the roof space and whatever. And you roll that into a 20-year mortgage, that isn't going to increase your monthly mortgage by $400 or $500 plus insurance and whatever. So I'm not really sure what kind of numbers you're working with there.
Yeah.
Not so hot, but I think, you know.
And I think it's about expectation too. You know, we hear comments, and I see there's one in the thing talking about sun is free. Very true, but solar panels are not. So to convert the energy from the sun to electricity and use it,
that's a
there is a cost. So whether that cost is you pay a CUC bill, or you pay a bank a monthly payment for the loan that you took to get that, there is a cost, and it's you know, the energy for free that doesn't really exist, because there's always a cost no matter where you get it from. What consumers need to do is be educated on what their choices are and choose what's best for them. Some people want to be able to control their own destiny, and they actually don't care what it costs. They just they want to control their own destiny, and you know what? Great for them. And some people, they don't want the hassle. They don't want to have to deal with, you know, maintaining their energy system. They just want the lights on. They want it cheap and they want it reliable. And there are other people that play in between those two extremes, right? And that's fine. And we're here to serve all of them.
Yeah. Ms. Morna, who's making that comment saying the sun is free, she says the battery costs more than the solar panels.
It's very true.
Yeah. And I mean, you know, we decided at the time not to get a battery, only because we're kind of focusing on, well, let's get the panels in. And then a battery is something you can add on a lot easier, sort of at a later date if you wish. And in fact, what we've done instead is we've just gotten a backup generator that's diesel, that's propane, I should say.
Yeah, because it's cheaper than the batteries, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, none of these options are like really super cheap, because if you get a proper,
it's you know, providing energy is not cheap business.
Propane, if you get a proper propane system with a backup generator, and you have the professionals do it, and you're not hoodwinking it yourself, you're going to pay. You're going to pay for that. So a couple of people asking the question, sorry, about being able to go off the grid completely. What does that mean?
It means you cut the cord. And yeah, it's been an option for locals since before CUC existed, and still is one today. And it's not a terribly attractive option, because what happened, I think consumers recognize a couple of things. Number one, it's expensive. Number two, what happens when their system needs to be taken offline for maintenance, because everything needs maintenance. That means you then have to build excess capacity to manage your maintenance and so on. And the cost just stack and stack and stack. And that is really why the grid exists, not just in Grand Cayman, but all over the planet, right? Grids exist to prevent customers from having to go to those costs to get their energy needs, right? You spread the backup across all of the entire customer base, and instead of having to have 2 times the capacity you need for your own service, you know, when you spread that out over the grid, you know, we can share backup between different customers. So right now, CUC's license requires it to have between 35 and 55% reserve capacity for that purpose. On an individual basis, you would probably need between 100 and 150% reserve capacity to keep the same reliability level as what CUC does. And that's one of the huge values that a grid brings, not just the Cayman grid, any grid brings to the electric service market.
So Aliano, your question or comment then says, why is there no real off the grid options, a complete divorce from system? There are. But you, the person who wants to go off the grid, has to be responsible for sourcing whoever's going to make that happen for you.
Yeah, you know, so you can buy your own diesel generator. You don't even need to do it through solar. You can do it with your own generator. You can do it with solar and a battery. You could theoretically do it with a wind turbine if you can get the permitting for it. I mean, there's a lot of ways to do it, but there are no cheap ways.
You know, during Hurricane Ivan, I used to be one of those people that complained about CUC a lot pre-Ivan, and then Ivan hit.
So you have to pay for fuel for your generator?
I had to get it. I had to get a generator like a lot of other people. 8 weeks plus without power, and every day having to, you know, and back then,
$50 of fuel a day. Yeah.
Oh my God! Listen, I really sat down and worked. I worked it out. Like if I had to try to do this myself, this is ridiculous.
Yeah,
and from that day forward, I've always tried to be more balanced about what it is that CUC offers, what we're paying for it, you know, the benefits, the reliability. Yes, there's always room for improvement. I'm sure of that. But I see it so differently. And not to mention things like me not having to get my hands dirty, not having to worry about the switch. And I flip the switch in the morning. It's going to work. I'm going to get my hot water to shower. You know, I'm not having to go outside and look at that generator. You know, how do I get?
But make no mistake, Sandy. I think you understand the situation because you've tried and learned from your own efforts in certain parts of the energy space that you've done for yourself. But you know, CUC does have a lot of questions to answer, and that's part of why we're here. Because that there are a lot of questions that customers have, some of which because they've been given incorrect information, and that's on us to help correct it and set the facts straight. And some of it is because we've made mistakes and we need to correct things as well. But more often than not, I think the more that we can help customers understand some of the nuances and challenges of providing energy as a service, the more and more we can make decisions together as a country to move forward and make things better, right? Because it's not, you know, this whole renewable energy space, you know, there's a lot of criticism and from us as well. Why hasn't it happened faster, right? And I'll jump right on that bandwagon. Why hasn't it happened faster? But the reality is we have regulations in place and laws in place that require this process to be managed by licensees, regulators, and the government in a way to make sure that we don't go down the wrong path, right? Make sure that we do protect reliability, make sure that we do protect the environment, make sure that we do protect costs for customers. And so thus far, there's been a number of proposals that get pushed and say, well, if we could do it this way, we could get it done faster. But when you look at the details of those proposals, it's like, okay, well, yeah, but it's going to increase costs by whatever percent. So maybe that's not a great idea because all of the customers are telling us every single day, it costs too much already. So why are we going to go up in price to solve a problem? We're actually going to take on another problem. So, you know, there's a lot of time and effort spent. I think I think the government and the regulator, for all of the flack that they get, are very focused on making sure that this is done in a way that reduces costs and it makes benefits for their environment. And I think once we hold on to cost and reliability and we keep the energy system in Grand Cayman as reliable and safe as it is today, and we push forward on the transition, holding on to cost reduction, holding on to reliability, we're going to see that our country is going to be stronger, even stronger than it is now compared to our competitors in the region.
Yeah. And I think it's good, Sacha, you know, CUC is committed to coming on the program at least a couple times a month. And I think that this constant conversation with the consumers helps to educate them about what it is that you guys are doing. They have an opportunity to ask questions, just like Aliano and I forgot who else was saying, you know, why can't we come off the grid? You're saying you can, you know, and there are things that people get wrong all the time. And it's because it's been said so many times, the misinformation has been repeated so many times that people actually believe it. The other one is, you know, fuel factor. Well, CUC is charging too much for fuel factor. that's a pass-through cost. You guys don't add anything to it.
It is too much, Sandra. The cost of fuel is ridiculous. It's
yeah, but you're
bonkers.
not marking that up. No, I completely agree. But you're not
I'll
marking
stand
that up.
on the other side of the fence and yell back at the company. It costs too much. It really does cost too much.
Yeah.
Right. But we have to burn it to provide energy until we get these solar panels.
Yeah.
Right. So, and we can't just say, oh, well, let's increase the cost of energy so that we can sell solar faster. No, that's not acceptable either. Right. Let's go and get as much solar as we can, as cheap as we can get it, and make sure it doesn't blow away in the wind.
All right. So what else has CUC been doing to progress renewable energy on Grand Cayman? Well,
geez.
That's
so I got 5 minutes to tell you what I've been doing for the last 8 years. Well, not just me. A lot of people in the company, had a meeting yesterday, and I recognized, wow, the team that's working on this now fills a full conference room, and that's great. So I guess where we started off was really, it was even before we started the planning for it. We opened up the consumer programs. I want to say that was 2012-ish. When we had the first core program come on, core customer come on, and since then till now, which is I guess 11 years, we've sort of modified that program from time to time. We get accused for having start and stop and so on, and that's true that it has opened and closed, and I would say that it's always been for good reason. Whether that is managing cost escalation on the grid, or there have been times when we've had to pull the brakes because we recognize that the solar installers were installing systems in the wrong way, and they weren't following the guidelines that were very clearly put out, and they had to go back and fix it. So there have been issues that have happened in every other market that have advanced through this, and we've tried as best as possible to learn from those challenges in other markets, and still do. But nonetheless, we have 23 megawatts contracted on the grid, well, either contracted or on the grid through consumer programs and the 5 megawatt program, 5 megawatt Bontown solar that you had on the screen earlier. And all of that is owned by other parties. CUC doesn't own any of it. But they've all been brought onto the grid through CUC programs, and facilitated through programs that we put forward to the regulator, work together with the regulator on making sure that the impacts of those programs were acceptable to the general customer, and it's been a good thing. We're now in a position where I think both the distributed market and the utility market can grow without any financial impact to the market, provided that there aren't pushes for increasing the cost of energy to justify them. But I don't think that's necessary. Like I said earlier, when you compete solar against diesel, it's super easy, right? So to think that we need to pay a premium over diesel is a long gone type of situation that only existed when we were trying to create the solar market. That's done now. Now the solar market needs to be advanced based on value and based on competing against other options on the grid, which should be easy to do. Some other things that we've done, we did a wind study back in, you got it on the screen, did a wind study back in 2003, and we actually tried to procure for a wind power plant in 2008, but that fell on its feet when the Doppler weather radar came about, because wind turbines create disturbances in Doppler weather radar systems, and it's just, they can't coexist. And so the weather radar trumped wind, and so we moved on and focused on solar. I think we can do things in the future to make wind more viable, but right now it's not the low-hanging fruit that solar is. So we're focusing on solar, and we will come back to wind eventually. Or maybe somebody else will provide a compelling solution, which we would happily take part in.
And can I just pause you for a quick second there, Sacha?
Yeah.
I think that it's important for people to also recognize, and I see a very interesting comment here from Johan, but to understand when you're transitioning or you're looking at renewable energy, you can't just wake up tomorrow and be like, oh, let's throw up a wind turbine right here in East End and we're good to go. And in a month, everybody's going to be able to benefit from that. I mean, from 2003, a feasibility study, 2008, there's a call for wind power partners. By 2010, basically, it had to be abandoned because of the Doppler radar system.
Yeah, so 7 years of thinking about it and nothing happened.
Exactly.
There's a lot of that, because you got to make, like, for example, imagine if we had thrown caution to the wind when put $20 million of wind turbines up, and then the government comes and says, weather radar is not working because your wind turbines in the way. Can you move your wind turbines? Right. Which would have been a reasonable request because they need the weather radar to work. Right. So you have to think of these things. You know, it's Danny asked the question about solar blowing away. You got to think of that. You got to get it right. You know.
Yeah, and these are the things that businesses obviously think about that consumers don't always appreciate. Johan makes the following observation. He says people would appreciate CUC if they have lived in other islands in the Caribbean. CUC aren't perfect, but they are consistent and provide quality product that helps make Cayman a first world country with great infrastructure in a region deemed third world by the G20, etc. I've had the opportunity, Sacha, to tour your plant back in April. And I must say that I was blown away by what I saw in terms of the operations, the technology. You know, I don't even, it's so weird. What, sorry?
Just the sheer scale of it.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. It was so weird, but I hadn't really thought about, when you talk about, the CUC plant, I hadn't really thought about what the plant is, right? And you guys might not know this, but my brother-in-law, and he works in Jamaica, and he works at a concrete plant. So he's interested in plants, I guess, in general. So
they probably have their own power plant at that concrete plant as well.
Yeah. So when he came here, he was asking questions like, oh, well, how do you guys get your electricity and blah, blah, blah. And I said, oh, yeah, we got CUC, power plant, whatever. He's like, oh, can I see the power plant? I was like, okay.
I tell you what, we don't do a whole lot of tours these days because of all the safety regulations. So
yeah, but no, I mean, it was, folks, when I tell you the technology, the safety concerns, the, you know, future proofing against another Cat 4 or 5 hurricane, what CUC has done to sort of offset some of those issues, elevation of their engines. I mean, when I walked into that main control room, I think that's what you call it, I don't know.
Yeah,
but we were just blown away by the monitoring and the controls that CU has. I mean, just the technology alone, I think that most people simply don't appreciate what it takes for us to be comfortable. And as much as we love the comfort that we have, right?
So yeah, the control system, my controls engineers will be upset at me for getting this wrong, but I'm going to just give this order of magnitude. It's monitoring in the order of 20 to 30,000 data points in real time across the island. And that doesn't even include the meters, which the control system doesn't have access to. This is just temperature sensors, voltage sensors. And so, yeah, the computing power to do that is quite tremendous, and it's a very it's a very significant investment.
Even with my limited knowledge, I was like, wow, this is really something to behold. You know. Not So Hot has some questions about the fuel. So Not So Hot is saying that I wish that they would tell us how much they buy their gas per gallon for, because the rates per kilowatt is criminal, and they must be paying in EU currency. That's the only way I can see the rates being so high. And how hard is it to find fuel from another source? I know you've answered
those
these
questions. Fantastic questions, to be honest, and I happily take them. Yeah, so we buy our fuel in bulk from the 2 local providers. We don't buy them on the same terms as what you would buy fuel at a gas station, and it's substantially lower cost than what you would see at the gas station, and that's because the gas stations have operating costs. They have to get deliveries by trucks. They have retailing costs. They got to put staff there. When we buy fuel at a few 100,000 gallons at a time. And it's just, all it is they push a button, they pump it through our pipeline, and it comes to us. So it's a far more efficient delivery mechanism than what you would do when you go and buy 5 gallons at a time from a retail pump. and actually very similar to the whole concept of utility scale versus distributed generation. It's just a matter of scale. We get a lot of cost savings there. We also get a cost savings that the government has decided is beneficial to energy customers, that the fuel that CUC uses attracts a lower duty rate. And so those cost savings, I think it's about a 50 cent per gallon savings. Those cost savings are passed through. I know most customers don't see that the fuel charge has any cost savings because it is such a big charge, but there's been a lot that's been done to make that big charge less big. The question about looking at alternate sources. So if we were to consider alternate sources for, say, just the same diesel fuel, we have done that, and we analyze that option a lot. Part of the challenge with that is those alternate sources will need storage. So for those of you that have driven down Sparky Drive, you'll see that we have those tanks there, but that's not all the storage there is. If you drive down South Church Street and you look at Saul and Rubis, they have a lot of storage, and those tanks are not inexpensive, right? So to get a third provider to provide diesel, there's a lot of infrastructure that would be needed to provide it in the quantity that we use. What we are doing though, and actually actively doing just this week, is starting the process to procure natural gas. Our engines can be converted to run on natural gas. And I was looking at the presentation that our partners are preparing in support of that. The cost savings are in the order of about 50% of where we are today on the fuel. Of course, that's going to change depending on what the price of fuel is, but it's a significant savings. But the real benefit, at least in my view, is not only on the cost. The real benefit is it's about a 30% reduction in CO2, about a 70% reduction in NOx, and almost 100% reduction in particulate and SOx emissions. So that's the primary driver, is the benefit to the environment of converted natural gas. Is oftentimes not seen as a good thing in continental situations because it does pollute, but that pollution compared to diesel is far better. And so we're pursuing that to get the cost savings and the environmental benefits for the customer. And if and when solar comes and grows to where we hope it does, we would then only be supporting it with natural gas as opposed to supporting it with diesel fuel. And if we have to get rid of the natural gas because we've got enough solar in 10-15 years from now, we can do that as well.
Yeah. So this follow-up question about whether or not you're obligated to buy from a particular company, you're saying that you purchase from the local providers.
Yeah, we purchase from both. We actually do competitive tenders with them every few years. Okay. And one of them will win a majority supply and the other one will win a minority supply. Or it is possible that we could be 100% with one, but that hasn't happened in the time that I've been with the company. There's always one of them that ends up winning the minority of the supply. And so they do have to compete with each other. But we also are monitoring sort of global prices, and we can control costs by looking at things like the diesel prices in the indexes in the US. And we use that as a pricing mechanism in our contracts.
Right. So, you're doing your part, trying to get the best value for money when it comes to the diesel that you're purchasing.
Yeah, and I'm not sure that it would be possible. Actually, I am sure that it would not be possible to get it here in the quantities that we need for less than the way we do it. Because each time we go through and do a procurement, we not only look at the local providers, we do look at third-party options. And invariably, we're always choosing the best choice that's available for Grand Cayman. It's still stupidly expensive, though.
Right.
We got to get rid of it in the long run.
Yeah.
We got to get rid of it.
Go talk to OPEC. Not so hot. Convince them. So let's talk a little bit about, people might be sitting here thinking, well, okay, maybe I do want to put a couple solar panels on my house. Is this open to anyone to be able to do that if they wish to do so?
Yeah. So right now there is no open program, but I suspect that will change in the next few weeks. We have put a proposal out to OFREG, and they're considering it now to reopen the core and DER programs. And we've also slightly modified rates, but not very different than what people are accustomed to. And we've also created a third program for people to choose from as a different way of getting credits for their solar system. And really just the idea is we're trying to, some customers will say, well, core doesn't work for me because it has limits. DER doesn't work for me because I don't want to deal with demand rate charges. And there's a lot of uncertainty. So we're trying to create something in the middle so that there's just more options so that everybody can get solar on the terms that they're happy with. And always trying to find a way of making sure that those terms that people can accept for solar aren't creating hardships for the customers that don't have solar. So I suspect that we'll hear something from OFREG on it fairly soon. And that's a 6 megawatt program. I believe a megawatt of it is being earmarked for government projects, which is great. And we're also doing our storage project, the energy storage project, which is going to help us accept a whole lot more solar onto the grid. We're doing studies now to analyze what that quantity is and what parameters we need to make sure are in place so that we don't sacrifice any reliability or create any costs. And we'll complete those studies before the battery project comes online so that when the battery is online, we can move forward and really kind of just let solar go.
Very good. So not so hot. You're not paying not so close attention because he did tell you already who the local sources are. But let's
I think Not So Hot's aware of where our local sources buy the fuel from.
Yeah. Right. Well, I mean, but your local sources, to be clear,
Sol and Rubis. Excuse me.
Two options.
But yes, there is no oil in the ground in Grand Cayman, so they are buying it from foreign sources. More often than not, it's from the Texas coast. Yeah.
All right. So Natasha says, in regard to wind energy, this is incredibly inaccurate. A windmill is a fixed disruption on the Doppler that can be accounted for. This is so misleading and wrong. It seems the problem is that there's a lot of people involved in these ideas who don't have the knowledge or expertise to advise accurately on them. So
Natasha is absolutely correct. She's absolutely correct. And in the initial phases, those sort of corrections were not available. And there's software solutions for it. Usually, from what I understand, and I'm not going to pretend to be an expert on it, I'm just regurgitating what's been told to me. So hopefully I don't offend Natasha's sensibilities with this comment, but a second Doppler weather radar could be placed in an alternate location, say somewhere in West Bay, for example, and you can then use software to superimpose the two images and recognize where the wind turbines are and just delete that part of the superimposition to get an accurate picture. So absolutely, it is possible. And in fact, it is financially viable. I mean, the cost savings that would be brought about from wind power could probably buy 5 Doppler weather radars. So it's not a financial thing. It's just really getting those types of projects done first, and then we can deal with doing the wind power. The other issue with wind power is we can't hide it. So when it comes to, and when I say we can't hide it, these things are huge, right? If you think the 10-story building is a huge 10-story building is about a third the height of a wind turbine. So imagine that, dozens of them. Where do we put it? Is that acceptable?
Because as most Caymanians, not in my backyard, right?
Well,
I want the
backyard, or I don't even want to see it from my backyard. But the reality is,
everybody's like, "Oh yeah, that sounds great. Cost savings sounds like a wonderful idea." And then when you go, "Oh yeah, we're going to be putting it right here in East End and Newlands," and no, now we can't do it.
Yeah. So. I mean, me personally, I've seen them, and I'm sure anybody who's traveled to places that have wind have seen them, and I wouldn't say they're tremendously attractive, but they're not ugly, right?
Yeah.
They're industrial, right?
Yeah.
But if you're looking for a natural view of trees and sea and maybe a house, that's not what you're going to get, right? So we have some questions to answer. There are, in Europe, they're putting thousands of these out in the sea. And I think once maybe floating wind turbines because of our depth of water, or I don't know, maybe we put them on 12-mile bank. I honestly don't know. We're gonna, I think some offshore wind, if it is financially viable to do so, may be an acceptable visual impact that we could see happen in the far future.
All right, Gary has some questions. He says, is there an education program by CUC or any other agency that will help regular users of the utility understand the benefits and sustainability of renewable energy? Well, that's why he's here, Gary. I love it.
No, it would be good. I think
you should have programs in school teaching kids too.
Yeah, and that's what we need. We need the general customer, the general population to understand these opportunities, the complexities with them, so that, because some of the decisions that have to be made are big, they're national level decisions, right? The whole, even on the solar side, to do solar, you got to develop a property to do that. I mean, yes, you can do rooftop, and there's a strong argument that's come out. Well, if we do rooftop, we don't have to use land. That's true, but the capability of the rooftop industry can only do about 20 to 25% of the energy requirements of the country. And that's just based on a number that was published by CREA, right? So that's not CUC's number, that's their number, right? So if you can only get to 25% of rooftop, where's the other 75% going to come from, right? So we have to come to grips on what is an acceptable place to put these things. And you're certainly not going to see any proposals from us that say, all right, well, we got to clear mangroves, because that's really going in the wrong direction, right? But we are going to have to develop land to do it, and we as a country are going to have to decide, is that acceptable? Right? Do we want renewable energy in the quantity that our national energy policy says, and what are we willing to accept to get that? And I don't think the answer is we don't have to give up a lot. Yes, we will have to develop some property. Hopefully we can find properties that have already been developed, but there's insufficient quarries, for example, which have been developed and abandoned to create enough space, right? And there's other areas that have been developed, but now that area is fantastic farmland. So it's we have some tough decisions to make.
All right, we have a caller. We've gone way into overtime, so we're going to start to wrap things up here. Good morning. Yeah, good morning, caller. That's okay. Question or comment?
Yeah, morning, Sunday. I was hearing about the 12-mile bank thing with
Don't hold on to that one. It was just a
that was meant to be a joke.
There's a bit of a joke.
I know, but why not wave generators? Why not wave generators? I mean, I understand the solar is a future, yeah, but wave generators as in a reliable source of energy, that's 100% everyday thing. I mean, you cannot stop waves.
Maybe not this week. It's pretty calm out there today. But yes, wave generation does work. It does work. We have studied it. Sorry.
Yeah, caller.
Yeah.
Go ahead, caller.
I'm just saying that I think it would be a really good idea, because of the idea that the waves are ever flowing. And I mean, look at it. If you even store enough energy that you can just say shut down the plant for a day because it will be producing a lot of energy, isn't that a good option?
Yeah. So
with the budget of solar and everybody has to participate in it. Who can afford solar panels? I mean, a lot of people cannot afford solar panels.
Yeah. which is why we want to do it and put it on the grid so that people don't have to buy solar panels. They can get solar energy from the grid. But to get to your
and the amount of land that you need to put these, the amount of land that you need to put these solar panels down to produce enough energy for this island, I mean, it's a big deal. It is a big deal, like you say, the plants and all
800 to 1,000
are
acres.
using the habitat that is in danger for them.
There's going to be no solution that doesn't have some sort of an impact on something.
Yeah.
So,
but the ocean is hard to. It's hard. I mean, I know they have ocean pollution and things like that. I mean, you have a big old garbage. I would call it a land mass in the middle of the ocean, like the size of Texas in the Pacific. If you don't have that here in the Caribbean, we don't have to worry about those type of things. The most we have to worry about is sargassum, seaweed.
Yeah, so the caller has a very, very good point. You know, and I think Sandra, you said it well, is also, you know, any of these options have negatives. Every single option has some negative. And the ocean one that he's referring to has negatives as well, but it doesn't have some of the negatives of other ones, right? So for example, it doesn't take a whole lot of land. But the challenge that ocean, the challenge that ocean wave energy has, and the reason why it's not very widely used throughout the world, it is used in certain places, particularly where there's very good wave action, is, and when we studied it, very technically viable. It could produce the energy and we could use it and so on. The issue is the cost per kilowatt hour of the energy from an ocean energy system is very high because the infrastructure is a high cost. So anything in the water costs more money because you have to design it for the harsh marine environment. So to put a machine there, yes, you can do it, and yes, it will work. Yeah. But the cost.
Yeah, but our island is well known for making more money than anyone else in the world.
Yeah.
So
but I can tell you, caller, your idea.
You're comparing to bigger countries than us.
Yeah, but sir, I can tell you, if I tell any of my customers that we're putting rates up, nobody says thank you. Right. So we have to be very, very careful about that.
Yep. All right, caller. Yeah, thank you very much.
Some really good points, and we are continuing to monitor that. And if there are advancements that bring it down to a cost-effective way, we'll be the first to recommend it.
All right. So Gary says he was expecting an actual program, not just an appearance on a show. Okay.
Thanks, Gary.
Natasha says she has a earlier comment on wind energy. I think we read it already, Natasha.
Yeah.
Unless I missed something else, but I think we got that one already. We read 2 of your comments. All right, folks. Listen, Sacha has been here for over an hour now. He was supposed to originally do 30 minutes. Went well over time. We appreciate you, Sacha, always being willing to come.
I appreciate the opportunity.
Answer people's questions, educate the public, answer the tough questions, the easy questions. You guys are here for it.
Yeah, no, thanks very much for the opportunity. There are no tough questions, right? Because there's just things that are not well understood, and sometimes they're not understood by us, right? And so the more we can talk about this, take input from the public, explain to the public some of the things that we're doing, why we're doing them, so that they can have an open understanding of their energy supply, the better. The more you know, the better. There's nothing that we have to hide. Like I said a dozen times, things are very expensive, and everything that we do every day is to try and reduce that. And I realize that's not happening fast enough, but it will happen.
Okay. Well, thank you very much again, Sacha. We appreciate having you here. Hopefully we can do the next segment, as we said, maybe a little FAQ with some accounts and opening accounts, changing accounts, all types of questions. So yeah, we appreciate it.
All right. Take care. Have a great day.
All right. Thanks too. All right, folks. Again, that's Sacha over at CUC coming on the program, joining us. All I can say is we appreciate when companies come on here, they speak directly to you. Listen, we can't even get your government officials to do that. And they actually work for you. You've elected them to public office and technically you're paying their salaries. And, a lot of them don't want the tough questions. They don't want any questions. But they'll find us when election time comes around, or so they think. They think they will find us. We're going to see about that one. Let's take a quick commercial break, folks. Cayman's premier streaming experts have new inventory in stock. Contact us today for the latest streaming devices, including the HD5 and X5. Roque is Cayman's only distributor for the Buzz TV premier products. Contact us on 926-1213 for more information.
Now, y'all love Popeyes for my fried chicken, but the real ones also love my salty, flaky, covered in butter biscuits. Well, biscuit fans, have I got a treat for you. Introducing new irresistible strawberry biscuits at Popeyes. The perfect balance of salty and sweet thanks to decadent strawberry bits baked right in and mouth-watering creamy icing on top. The perfect dessert for just $2.29, or grab 6 pieces for $12.59.
Strawberry biscuits forever.
Not forever, I'm afraid, honey. Limited time only, and only at Popeyes Louisiana Kitchen on Eastern Avenue.
The Department of Environmental Health has announced that the November bulk waste collection schedule has been replaced by one in the month of May, starting with West Bay, May the 1st through the 6th. Please note that following West Bay, there will be a Georgetown bulk waste collection from May the 8th through the 13th, and then Bordentown from May the 15th through the 20th, followed by Northside and East End from May the 22nd through the 27th. Stay tuned to this platform for more bulk waste scheduling information.
The annual business surveys being conducted by the Economics and Statistics Office, ESO, are ongoing. The surveys run from April 11th to June 16th, 2023, and collect information to answer questions like, how did the economy perform in 2022? What is the value of the income received from the rest of the world in 2022? Your response matters. Fill out and return your surveys to the ESO. Remember, better data, better decisions, better business. For assistance, visit www.eso.ky or call 244-4600 or 244-4676.
Ocean Ridge Heights offers an amazing opportunity to own a piece of land in idyllic Cayman Brac, right on the bluff, starting from $80,000. Located in a quiet residential area with high elevation, these lots are ideal for a future home or investment property and are sure to go fast. Cayman Brac offers a laid-back lifestyle, amazing pristine diving, limestone caves, diverse flora, along with amazing wildlife. Inquire about the owner financing options so that you can secure your piece of paradise today. With only a few lots remaining, these are sure to go before you know it. Contact Crichton Properties today on 345-949-5250 or info@crichtonproperties.com.
Honey, you remember to bring your lunch, right?
Oh, come on. You know I wouldn't.
Seriously?
Popeyes?
Popeyes.
Popeyes to the rescue again.
Mommy, I prefer this to your chicken anyway.
Oh, no, you didn't.
Cayman doesn't just like that chicken. We love that chicken from Popeyes.
All right, folks, welcome back to the program. 936-BOBO, that's 936-2626 is the telephone number. How are you guys doing today? Hope everybody's well. Where's my toll-free number, Flo? I'm over here shamelessly begging for toll-free number so that you guys can call into the program and save money. Listen, a penny saved is a penny saved. Any which way that you can get it. It was a bit of sad news yesterday to hear that the legendary, I mean, when I say legendary, like seriously, rock and roll legend, rock and roll singer, Tina Turner, passed away at the quite a good age, I must say, the ripe old age of 83 years old. Nobody's going to live forever, folks. Some of us will get a bit more time than others, but she has lived an amazing life. I mean, honestly, this woman, I remember, now obviously at 83, she's been around a lot longer than me. But when I kind of really became cognizant of who Tina Turner was, it would have been in the 80s, I think, when she kind of relaunched. I don't know if there's a proper relaunch of her career, but I feel like it might have been. And I would see her everywhere with those legs, honey child. I was like, who is this woman with these amazing legs who can dance like this? I'm like, what? She is so vibrant and so amazing. I'm thinking she's a new artist. And come to find out, Tina Turner had been around forever, honey child. Look at her. She was always such a strong woman. She had those legs insured for like over $1 million, I think, or $1 million or something, because, you know, they were just that valuable, honey child. She couldn't do that little dance without those legs. So she lived an amazing life. There was a quote that somebody had up on social media. I wanted to see if I could share it with you guys, because I thought it really kind of summed up her life, where essentially she said that, you know, in her case, her life was a little bit maybe the opposite, in the sense that, oh, here it is. Let me see if I can grab this. Hold on one second. Because, you know, a lot of people have hardships sort of later in life. But for her, she felt like her life was the opposite. She had her hardships early on and then had this amazing, you know, second chance at everything. And I think that, you know, it's just so amazing to have had or even just envision and imagine what her life was like. She's an icon, right? Beautiful on the outside, and from all accounts, a woman who endured a lot and was also, you know, really beautiful on the inside as well. We've heard the stories. I need to go watch her documentary. There's a documentary, I think, that came out a couple years ago that I haven't had an opportunity to watch as yet. But, you know, there was, everybody knows of the famous time with her and her ex-husband. What was his name again? Ike Turner, who was kind of her manager and husband at the same time. History of abuse. And this woman, you know, was able to come out of that and to really have an amazing career after Ike. In spite of Ike, I should say. She went on to really just live this life that is like, wow. So just amazing. And I, you know, I felt like a lot of people, the second it broke that she had passed away, I was getting messages left, right, and center. Everybody was messaging me. I think we all have like that iconic moment where we think about, oh yeah, I remember this song when I was like this age, or this is my favorite Tina Turner song, or this is what I was doing at a particular point in my life, sort of thing. And so, yeah, so may she rest in peace. Just an amazing woman, really and truly. So here's this video of her talking a little bit about her life.
Happier than I ever thought that life would become for me. So that means that most of my hardships came while I was young and growing up. And in the last days, when normally people suffer from old age and sickness, my happiness came. I'm really thoroughly happy.
And that was a video interview that she was doing back in 2018. She was sick, from what I understand, for quite some time. And yeah, just an amazing woman, really, about you know, surviving hardships in life, and not just surviving, but thriving and overcoming those hardships. Really and truly gives everybody hope. You know, I think we all have hope that no matter what we go through in life, there is better to be had. And she worked extremely hard. Obviously, this is not a woman who just sat back and expected life to deliver anything for her. She worked extremely hard for what she had, and she had an amazing career. So rest in peace, rest in peace. Definitely going to be missed. What's your favorite Tina Turner song? She had so many. It's hard to probably just pick one, but Private Dancer is definitely at the top of the list for me. What else? I'm trying to think of some other ones. Trying to think. Private Dancer. Man, she's got. Let me think. Tina Turner songs. What else? Oh my goodness, there's probably quite a few. So, What's Love Got to Do with It? 1984. You see, the 80s. I was like, growing up, child of the 80s. That's when a lot of these songs, I'm like, yeah, I love the song. 84 was Private Dancer as well. So these would be the ones that I would more remember. But of course, Proud Mary from 1970 was before I was born, but it's still a classic. What else did she do? Better Be Good to Me. She just did some amazing stuff, right? Just River Deep, Mountain High, absolute classic. It's Only Love. I Can't Stand the Rain. That was off the Private Dancer album from 1984. What else was did she do? She did What's Love Got to Do with It? Maybe that one is really, really my, if I had to pick one, that was probably it. What's Love Got to Do with It? Yeah, maybe. I don't know. They're just all good songs. So amazing, amazing life and amazing career for this lady here, Tina Turner. So she was living in Switzerland for the latter part of her life. Simply the Best, says Kim. Proud Mary for Miss Sue. Miss Sue says this is sending shivers down her spine right now. Miss Morna says her favorite song, What's Love Got to Do with It? Sue says she was my era, fabulous music. And those legs could dance. Wow. What's Love Got to Do with It? Her favorite. Absolutely amazing woman. I loved her so much. Seen her twice live in concert. Too. God bless her dear heart. That's Miss Sue. Everton says her legs were insured by an insurance company in England by the name of Lloyd's of London. Yep, that company insures ships. Oh yeah, $1 million legs. Let me tell you. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
Good morning, Sandra. You're
Hello,
okay?
my darling. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you. A little aches and pains, but that's up to me if I want to get rid of these aches and pains too.
Yeah. Yes.
Anyway, you're so right about Tina Turner. She had some moves that's unbelievable. But didn't her husband donated a kidney to her?
Which husband? The last husband?
Yeah. Because I think she lived in Switzerland for quite a long time.
She was living in Switzerland for the latter part of her life. Yes.
Yeah. I think so. I am not too sure, but I wish I had the move. Well, younger, I guess I did have some moves, but not like her.
Yes, that's for sure.
Yes.
Someone said that Simply the Best. A few people said Simply the Best is their favorite.
That's my favorite too.
Rolling on the River. That's the one that she really got to showcase the legs. Yes.
But I wanted to call and say this about CUC. Well, Sacha was there from CUC, right? This morning, just a little while ago.
Yeah.
Well, I want to say that the road crew, it's no other, I'm sorry to say this, in a way of speaking of the rest of people that we have like working on the roads. CUC road crew is the most polite. They have signs up way in advance that you should slow down. They have lights up. I had to stop for a little while they make the other lane come, because they were working down in West Bay in my road and in other places in West Bay, and the guy looked down at me and he says, good morning, Mom. Like I could give you $1 million, you know, and a big smile on his face. Sasha and Mr. Hugh, you have a good staff far as the road crew is concerned, and I'm glad that you put up these signs so people can know way in advance, especially the older people that, you know, and that's what I have to say about CUC. Maybe the other people from even Public Works put up two, three little old things on the road, and sometimes they're down in holes or digging down in something, and no warning till you get right up on them. You know? But CUC is the best, as far as I'm concerned. And I'm not looking for no cut on my leg, Bill. I'm just saying the truth. And good morning to you, Sandra.
Yes,
and
thank you, my dear.
You always bring good information to us, and we appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
All right, love. Thank you. 936-2626 is the telephone number. So, yeah, I think that I'm going to try to play a little video here from Tina Turner. But yeah, she was just amazing. I mean, oh my gosh. You know, even when she was older, like you would see her get on stage with the likes of like Beyonce and stuff. And honey child, she was giving Beyonce a run for her money. Beyonce is like in her early 20s. And at that point, Tina Turner must have been at least, my gosh, probably in her 60s. And she was still giving her a run for her money, honey child. This is the original queen. Beyonce could only wish. You know, she's got her own legacy that she's building. But trust me when I say that, you know, Tina Turner was just a legend in her own right. Let me see if I can find this one here to show you guys. I think this is when they were
I'd like to bring out Miss Beyonce.
Yeah, Michelle. Yeah.
She and I will sing Proud Mary.
This is them performing Proud Mary together. I'll slide the volume down because, of course, we'll probably get blocked.
Every now and then.
For it. You know what? Some things are worth getting blocked for, honey child. And acknowledging a legend like this.
But somehow, we never ever do nothing completely nice and easy.
You know why?
Why? You know why? Why?
Because we like to do it.
We like to do it.
We like to do it. Nice.
And rock!
So, this performance was, in more recent years, one of the more, you know, entertaining ones. And again, because, listen, at this point in her life, Tina Turner wasn't no spring chicken, and she still was able to get on that stage and perform with the best of them, and to look at this, give Beyonce a run for her money. You know, really an amazing performer. I never got to see her live, but I think that if you did, it was obviously something like Miss Sue that you undoubtedly will cherish forever. So may she rest in peace. And of course, condolences to all of her family. Miss Sue says she did 2017. She had a kidney transplant. Yes, he did. This is her new husband, right? She was living in England for a long time, and then she moved to Switzerland. Yeah, so she had intestinal cancer. But you know, at 83, child, something's going to take you. Sue says Beyonce loved her. They all did, and took some moves from Tina. Absolutely. All right, folks, let's move on. May she rest in peace. Raise a tea glass to Tina Turner today, folks. We're all going to go down that road one day. You just got to be ready, honey child, as ready as you can be. Okay, so another interesting bit of news yesterday is the Cayman mermaid sunk right in Governor's, where is it? Governor's, hold on now, Governor's, what's the area called? Governor's Harbor? Yeah. So, I mean, this was crazy, but, mhm. Yeah, but I mean, this boat has been around forever. I think dating back to the 1980s is what people are saying. And wow, I guess she was just abandoned for a while. I don't know why the boat was abandoned. I understand that the owner of the boat had passed away. Lots of questions there about, still, I mean, it is a sizable boat. Why would it have not been taken out of the water, decommissioned, something? But now it has sunk. We got pictures early yesterday of the fact that it was sinking. And gosh, what a sight, really. I don't even know what to say about this one. It doesn't look good. And I don't know, do they just leave it there? I mean, I have questions about what happens to the boat that has sunk in our waters. But here we got different people sending us footage of it. There it is. It's starting to go under yesterday. I don't know. Someone asked me this morning, is it completely under? And I don't know how quickly, it would have taken to sink completely. But is this an environmental hazard? Well, according to the Department of Environment Conservation officers, they're saying that the officers attended the scene and advised that the wreck does not appear to pose any immediate threat to the water or marine life. However, they're going to continue to monitor it should anything emerge that would potentially impact the environment. But someone did ask a good question this morning. Did it not have fuel on it? So, is that something that's going to seep into the water? Are we talking about a fuel leak? Like, I honestly don't know how any of this works. So this is just me asking questions. Is there anybody who can explain it to us? Do they just leave it there? Somebody else said that area is kind of shallow. Like, they probably shouldn't leave it there because if there's a storm out there, it'll move around in the storm and, become a potential hazard. Oh, I don't have any of those answers. I simply do not know. I can only ask the questions and hope that that somebody will let us know. Kind of, what does this mean? Do they move it? Does it become a what do you call it? A dive site now, like an artificial reef? No clue. If we find out more, we will certainly let you guys know. Kind of a sad day, I suppose, to know that it's the end of an era. Everything, all good things, all bad things. I think everything has an ending, and so this is certainly one of those. Used to be sort of the party boat back in the day. I think I've been out on it once or twice for tours. I'm not really huge on boat cruises and stuff, but I think I've been out a few times on this vessel. And there she was in better looking days. And there's a whole story about how she was brought into the Cayman Islands back in those days. It was a lot more challenging to bring in any sort of vessel, navigation wise and so on. But Paul Lawrence says that the Mermaid was delivered by Michael Grundy and Roger Edmonds. And so there you have it. And of course, it was a sight to behold back in I believe it was 80s when this vessel was originally brought into the Cayman Islands. So may this vessel now rest in peace as well. There you go. The end of that. So Everton says, do you know the cost to move such a vessel? No clue. I have no clue. Don't know anything about it. Someone says it has oil and fuel on it, so they're looking to get it floated. Someone says that it's sitting at the bottom. So it's now at the bottom. It was owned, I think they meant to say, by Ernie Smat's estate. Oh, okay. Ernie Smat is alive or dead? I guess he passed away. So it was owned by his estate. Man, I hear Zeus crying down the place today. What's going on, Zeus? I hear him with one pile of barking. Zeus not behaving. Oh, he's dead. Okay. Someone says, call Dale or Paul at the port and ask them as receiver of Rex for Cayman what action they've taken about the sinking vessel. Oh, so the port has a role to play in this? Receiver of Rex. That sounds like a very official title. What is that? What is a receiver of Rex? So any vessel that sinks obviously is a wreck, and the port is responsible for that. Okay. We don't have Paul or Dale's number, but perhaps we can get an email address and send them an email and see if they'll respond. You know, these government people be running from questions, honey child. I don't know. Everton says if the fuel tank is empty, then it shouldn't be that much problem as long as it doesn't have any feral diesel fuel. Well, I'm assuming it had fuel, so you probably don't want it just sitting there. Everton says, I don't get it. It's a mermaid, so how can it sink? A little tongue-in-cheek thing there. Okay, Alejandro says, refill that cup and give us the sauce. Y'all love y'all some sauce. John, good morning. Says John McKenzie will probably be called. He sank the dive site off the Weston and is an expert in salvage. Oh. Who's John McKenzie? Very, very interesting. All right. Let's keep it moving, folks. MRCU is saying that they're going to be starting a larviciding operation, and that's in progress, they say now. Well, thank you, MRCU. It's about time is all I can tell you, because boy, oh boy, oh boy. Every time I go outside, the number of mosquito bites, and they bite you in the most unusual places. I had one like right in the middle of my back. Right now I have one behind my knee on my left side. On the right side, I got them on my legs. They bite you in the arms. So now I'm outside more because I'm trying to potty train the dog. So every time I go outside, I'm like, slapping myself in the head. And I hate the sound of a mosquito zipping by your ear. There's no more annoying sound in the world. Listen to me. Y'all know this already because I'm sure you've experienced it. You're in a room and there's one singular mosquito in that room with you, and he's going to just right by your ear. And you're like, you jump out of bed and you're like knocking stuff over, trying to kill this darn mosquito. They are so annoying. If I had like, all powerful, there's two things I would get rid of in this world. Mosquitoes. Well, I was thinking of insects and stuff, but let's back up. Child molesters, they would be at the top of the list. They would be gone, banished forever, never to exist. But outside of them, mosquitoes and cockroaches. I'm not sure what purpose either one of those. I can probably, I'm not going to live out in the outback. So all these snakes and spiders and all this kind of stuff, I'm not likely to see them ever. But mosquitoes and cockroaches are everywhere. And I'm like, what purpose do they serve? Mosquitoes have killed, and the diseases that they carry have killed more people than all of the world wars and everything combined. They are ferocious. Oh my God. Seriously. Can't even. And of course, our MRCU struggles on an annual basis, I should say, with trying to get the mosquito population and the whole mosquito situation under control. So they've said their annual larvicide application that takes place before the start of the major rainfall event of each year is currently underway. Honey child, did they miss a memo? I think they missed something. Because seriously, mosquitoes have been killing us. Like right now, they're not as bad as they were about 2 weeks ago. You couldn't even go outside during the day. They would swarm you and like try to kill you and take you away. Seriously? Oh my gosh. What about Marlon has this suit that he has. Miss Stacy, please bring me Zeus. That dog is gonna drive me crazy with the barking today. I don't know why he's barking so much this morning. Just bring him to me. He's obviously lonely. Bring Zeus. We'll give him some attention this morning. So let me just WhatsApp her. And the second he comes in here, he has settled right down and just be quiet. His little vocal cord gonna get strained today with all that barking. Now, normally I am very, very strict with putting dogs and children under manners. But geez, peace. I feel sorry for him today. I'm like, why is he barking so much? A lot of times he stops after a couple minutes, but let him come inside. Let him hang out with me for a little bit in the studio. Anyway, so they say that they're going to be using two main products, both of which are bio-rational products, whatever that means. And they're applied as pellets formulations into the mosquito breeding areas during the MRCU aerial operation. So the aerial planes drop the pellets in different bodies of water and stuff, right? Now you've got to make sure, folks, that you ensure that you yourself are not keeping. Hello, Zeus. Hi. What's going on this morning? What happened? Why are you all upset? Oh my gosh, Zeus. What's with all the noise? Let everybody see you. Let everybody see you. Why all the barking this morning? You got some questions? You got some stuff on your mind that you want to tell the people of Cayman Islands? What's the problem? Why are you barking so much? Are you upset about mosquitoes too? Your little heartbeat is beating so fast right now. What's going on? Zeus is like, I don't know. I just wanted to break out of that cage. So yeah, I mean, it's just absolutely crazy. But you've got to ensure that you're doing your part with standing water around your home, because listen, it happens, right? Marlon has a whole gardening system and he uses irrigation that he's installed himself. So he gets buckets that he's capturing water in, and then he's pumping that out to, his gardening area, because he's very handy with that kind of stuff, honey chip. And I noticed yesterday that one of the buckets, one of his barrels, had a little area on it where there was some settled water, not a whole lot. And, you've got to walk around the property and look at these things to see what you can do to ensure that, you don't have standing water around the place, because that will definitely cause mosquitoes to have breeding ground. So do what you can do. Right, Zeus? We don't like mosquitoes. We do not like mosquitoes. All right. Everton says for him, it's snakes. He'd get rid of snakes. Yeah, I'm not fond of snakes now. I don't want a snake coming in my house. But generally speaking, I don't really see that many snakes. Every once in a while, you see them slithering in the bushes. And I know that snakes are good for something. They're out there eating rodents and other things that we don't like. What purpose does mosquitoes serve? All they do is carry diseases and annoy the heck out of us and bite us up and got us all red and bitten up and stuff. Yasmin says, OMG, Sandy, I agree with you. Gareth says, I've been told that they would pollinate certain plants, which are important to the ecosystem and are valuable for the food chain. Who, mosquitoes? Mosquitoes pollinate? I mean, they're important because bats eat mosquitoes and other flies. So I guess from that perspective, the bats are eating them, but honey child, we have to find something else for the bats to eat. Morning, caller.
Yeah, morning, Miss Sonia. I think the mosquitoes are very important for ecosystems too.
Really?
They help feed a lot of animals, like especially bats. Bats, they consume a lot of mosquitoes per night.
Not enough, honey child.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's not enough. They do supply food for flies. They do supply food for the fish that live in the pond. They do supply food for those that like frogs. Mosquitoes are a food source for almost every animal in the ecosystem. If you think about it, birds even included in that. Yeah, birds are even included in that. When I say that, no, the birds eat the fish that eat the mosquitoes. The dragonflies as well. Dragonflies, they hunt mosquitoes on a daily basis. I mean, the more that we wipe out these creatures, the more deadly our ecosystem is just going to get, and we are going to be the effect on it. We're going to keep getting bite by mosquitoes, and we are going to just keep seeing this problem. And you got to eradicate the mosquitoes, and we're going to eradicate the rest of the ecosystem, in my opinion.
Well, I
can't get rid of the mosquitoes.
I think there's more than enough of them, but okay. All right. Thanks for that one.
the biggest solution is just don't move in the areas that they live. They live in wetland areas.
They live all over the place. They're in my house. We mean I must not move.
Of course, but you living in a wetland area too, you know, Sandy. You're living in Savannah. I mean, come on now. Everybody knows that Savannah has more wetlands than anywhere else in this island.
Which part of Cayman is not swampland?
You tell me what part in this island don't have mosquitoes then?
Exactly. That's my point. This whole island is one big swamp.
Now that the whole island needs to eradicate mosquitoes. Eradicate frogs, snakes, birds, plants, and all the rest of the animals as well. I mean, they're a nuisance as well. You don't like chickens, you don't like cats.
Alejandro.
You know, I'm an animal lover, you know, so I'm a bona fide animal lover. I don't exclude any one of those animals.
Mosquitoes are hardly considered animals, but all right.
Yeah, they are insects, which is considered the animal kingdom as well.
All right, Alejandro.
I'll argue it all day if I have to, but I don't want to.
No, we ain't got time for that.
No, neither do I.
All right. Thank you. Right. Richard says now Zeus has a fan club and we all want to see him. He actually has tons. Alejandro said get him some chew toys. Don't worry. He's got tons of those already. He's got a rawhide bone. Gianna has donated some of her toys. She's got little dogs and she's just giving him the little stuffed dogs. And he loves those. See he's got two right by my foot. This is a little cow looking toy. And this one has a little squeaky stuff in it. So he likes to play with this one. He's got a little rope toy. He's got like 2 balls. Don't worry, honey chow. He's got more than enough to keep him occupied. But he just likes people's company, which is understandable. Dogs are pack animals. They love people. I understand that. But sometimes he got to learn that he got to be by himself. He can't be around people all day. See how he all of a sudden he just stops barking when he's here? Right, Zeus? Okay. All right, honey. Yeah. All right, honey. Everton. Oh, no, that was, who says that I'm spoiling him? Aw. But what are dogs for if it's not to spoil them? Just a little bit. Not too much, but just a little bit. And he really seems to be attached to me, I think, out of everybody in the household. Marlon's like, oh, he's following you around all day long. And he sure is. Zeus is a boy, by the way. But he is so cute. He is so cute. Gigi says, why is he so cute? Little kids. I'm like, I don't know. He is a cutie patootie. We need to get you groomed though. His face is, you know, these breeds, you got to keep their faces like very, very clean and stuff. So we're going to take him back to the groomers and get him cleaned up a little bit again this week. Takes money to have these dogs, honey child. Let me put you down so you can relax. Now, do not have an accident in here. You are warned already, son. Oh, Lord. That's why he's in his cage, because we're trying to potty train him. And the second he comes out, he'd be like, oh, this is a good spot to just, all right, looks like he's going to lie down and behave. All right. He'd be like, oh, this is a good spot to just tinkle. I'm like, Miss Sue says I'd spoil her too. Well, Zeus is a boy. Live says the MRU sprays has killed off the beautiful fireflies that Grand Cayman used to have in abundance, however, not intentionally. And I think, honestly, they probably killed off some bees as well. Again, not intentionally, but you know, these are some of the things that we got to be careful with. There's always a plus and you know, pro and con to everything. So Gareth says, well, Grand Cayman is pure wetland. It actually used to be more swampier back in the day, but still quite swampy. Yes, everybody talking about, oh, we can't pull up the mangroves. I'm all for that, but Cayman is one big mangrove. You wouldn't build anything ever if you didn't see or don't understand that all of Cayman is swampland. Y'all have built it up, used a little bit of fill. You've dredged and produced fill in different areas, and all of a sudden these multi-million-dollar exclusive homes, y'all want to live there as though that's what it was, you know, 50, 60, 100 years ago. It wasn't. That was swampland too. And that was mangrove property too. So, you know, but a lot of people now that they have theirs, they're like, well, nobody else can build anywhere that's going to interrupt the environment. And it's like, what about your house that you're living in that somebody had to dig in and you know, swampland and fill it? And, you know, it's just like, come on, people, let's be reasonable. Sorry. Alejandro says, it's the female mosquitoes that are biting. The males feed off of nectar from flowers. So shall we kill off the female then? I'm all for it. Live is saying I miss the fireflies. Can they be reintroduced? I don't know. I'm not so sure. Cliff land that's swampy. Trust me, it's not all that cliffy. We don't have anything that's elevation wise that's very high. Although as a kid, when I used to go to East End, my aunt used to take me to East End because she's from East End with her people. They used to, whenever I traveled there as a kid, I remember having this vision of the homes in East End, like on the main road, being much higher up than they were. I don't know why. But as a kid, I always thought like, wow, this is like really a hill. As an adult, I'm like, that wasn't no hill. They kind of looked a little bit higher as a kid, but, yeah. All right. Little dogs have such big personalities. This one says, Zoomer barks at me every time I visit my mom's house. Then he warms up to me and we play. Just our special relationship. All right. Mosquitoes form an important source of the biomass in the food chain, serving as food for fish. Yes, honey child. Bats and frogs. Ugh, can we get rid of frogs too while we're at it? As adult flies, and some species are important pollinators. Thank you so much, Leonard. Appreciate the lesson in mosquitoes today. All right, I'm going to take it back. I wouldn't get rid of all the mosquitoes then, but can I just get rid of the ones that are going to bite me in my area? Can't have it all. Can't have it all, can we? Okay. This person says we're going to do lunch at 12:30. Okay. All right, honey child, making my lunch dates. And no, that was not Johan. I mean, Johan. Well, it wasn't Johan either, but I was actually thinking of George. Ooh, Johan accidentally called your name when I meant to say George. But, both y'all crazy. So there you go. All right. So let me see here now. Salvage, this person says, is totally, the port director is the receiver of wrecks. The salvage crew will soon have to soon have her up and pumped out. John McKenzie is not an expert in salvage. The salvage crew from Harbor House Marina are the true professionals on island. Salvage is totally different from sinking a boat. Oh, so John knows how to sink a boat, but he doesn't know how to salvage a boat, I think is what this person's saying. Interesting. I'll forward this to Renee and she can add this to the story. Because, yeah, all right. That's pretty interesting. You hear him now squeaking on his little toy? Yep. This person says, he wants to be near you. Give the child a break. Or you can give him to me. Oh, Lord. Here's this quote. This is pretty funny. He hasn't figured out how to take those little squeaky things out yet. That was Coco's favorite thing in the world to do. The only reason she wanted a squeaky toy was to remove the squeaky part. So this person says, if you think you're too small to have an impact, try and go into bed with a mosquito in the room. Yes, absolutely. Whew. They will drive you insane, honey child. But not to worry. I don't think there's any fear of mosquitoes going extinct anytime soon. Everton wanted to know if that was George taking me for lunch. No, son. Not today, Bobo. Not tomorrow, Bobo. And not the day after that, Bobo. No, 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 no. Oh, let's talk about another scammer. Carmelie says that we need to be highlighting. Keith Barnes. We've talked about Keith before. I don't know what's wrong with these people, but listen, at this point, the police just need to be called. Y'all just need to call the police. Say you've got a thief on the loose. And now he's being accused of stealing, what did they say? Tools? So they, what is this? Please, I'm asking you to post this for me. I learned some gardening tools. I think you mean loaned. I loaned some gardening tools to a Keith Jr. Barnes. He indicated that he wanted to do some work a month to 2 later. I'm still waiting for my tools. He done sold them, honey child. They pawned to be returned. I went to the police. The police went to him. He indicated that he have them and he would return them. He still has not returned them. This is the man that took my things. I'm going to send the picture of the tools. So why would you loan this man tools? And these tools look like brand new tools. Y'all need to have more sense in this. Who is he that you'd loan him tools? If you have a business and you have these kind of tools at your disposal, it doesn't make any sense to go around loaning people your tools. Start protecting yourselves. At some point, the message has to be that I can't be trying to help you find tools and missing kids and missing dogs and missing this and missing that if you're not doing your part. You've got to do your part. Okay? So he's not going to stop going around stealing and being dishonest. That's who he is. I don't know why he's doing it. There he is again. Remember, he's the same guy that stole from Lorenzo, took the money from Lorenzo for a car. And we told you guys that come to find out, he does not even have the rights to the car. The car is being loaned to him by a family member so he could pick the kids up from school. So y'all need to do better. Why the heck would you loan? I don't know who this Keith Barnes is, but why would you loan him anything? Right? Yes, honey child. Even to Zeus saying, yep, that's right. No, sir. Y'all have got to do better. We have his number. Let's try calling him again, but I can tell you what ends up happening, and I want y'all to be very, very realistic here. People like him, the young man the other day who stole the car, I don't know if that particular car has been recovered as yet. A lot of them have drug problems. They have bigger problems, right? And so they are taking your things in order to go out there and support a drug habit. They're pawning it. They're selling it. They're doing whatever they can for a few pieces of rock cocaine, whatever it's called. So, you know, oh Lord, I don't even know. But I would say it's fair to say you're not getting this stuff back. He probably pawned this already, but you better go to the pawn shop. Go check cash registers. They probably got your tools. But like I said, I don't know what person in the right head would be loaning this man any tools. Y'all crazy. No, sir.
You have reached the voicemail box of.
He's not going to return it back. Even Lorenzo. I mean, I hate to tell Lorenzo, but unfortunately, you guys fell for a crook. And this guy does not. Let's call Lorenzo back because I know he's been trying to call me. Lorenzo, there's only so much that I can do. I know I do a lot, but I'm not a miracle worker. And so, unfortunately, let's get an update from Lorenzo about Barnes. Mr. Lorenzo.
Hi, Mom.
Yes, sir. How are you?
Taking it easy, Mom.
Yeah, boy. We were just talking about apparently someone had featured Keith Barnes again for some missing tools. And of course, that made me think of you. Any updates on your situation?
No, Mom. Mr. Brady, the lawyers someone speaking is looking for him, and they're telling me they cannot find him. And I go to the police station 100 million times. I call him Keith. He's not answering. Send me threat them.
Yeah.
And all I could do is just look at it as a loss. But I can't have it as a loss right now.
Yeah. Because in your case, this was thousands of dollars that you'd given him for a vehicle, which by the way, he never even owned. So he couldn't transfer it to you.
No, the vehicle is not owned by no family. The vehicle is owned by his girlfriend.
Well, it's still not his. And she didn't give it to him to sell.
So I was trying to talk to her to say if she can just bring him and the three of us will sit there and talk and say, guess what? How we can get back the money or whatever. But she said she's not involving herself in it, you know? She said leave it to God.
Wow. That's
so what she told me. Leave it to God.
Leave it to God. No, he needs to be in jail. So he's stolen your money from you, and I think that the police needs to now see this as theft and deal with him accordingly. God not gonna help you if you can't help yourself.
Well, the police officer told me plain and straight is a civil matter. The lawyer can't find him. The summons people can't find him, and what they told me, I have to go in. If I find him, I have to call him, and then after they will come and give him the summons. So it's a hot mess.
It really is. It really, really is. And you know, the tough lesson here, I was just saying to our listeners, you know, the tough lesson here is that there's certain you can't take or get water out of a stone, right? And so you have to recognize that with some people, unfortunately, they don't have the money. I don't know what he did with your money, but that money's long gone. He has spent it. The chances of you recovering that now is pretty slim.
Well, I heard you drink the money.
I have no idea. But we wish you luck, and I mean, just keep us updated. You know, unfortunately, we were not able to do anything more. I'm going to email the commissioner, though, to see if the police can't be more useful, because I think at this point, this is a theft of your money, obtaining property by deception, and maybe they could do something a bit more. How much was it again? $3,000?
Yes, ma'am. Every time I talk about it, it hurts my head.
Wow, I can imagine.
Okay, then, ma'am.
All right, dear. Take care.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so he gave him $3,000, folks, for a car that he didn't have the rights to even sell. That's obtaining property by deception. They need to arrest him. If you can't get your money out of him, make sure his behind spends time in jail, and at least you'll have some satisfaction that he is not going to do this again. So I'm messaging the police commissioner right now. They need to find him. They need to arrest him and lock him up, charge him. I don't know what the police always tell me civil matters. This is theft. Obtaining, this one tell me please. This should be obtaining property by deception. That's a deception, honey child. When you're trying to sell a car and to multiple people that you don't even have a right to sell the car to. I don't care who owns the car. The car wasn't his. And so, you know, he hasn't been able to find your money back. Theft. Obtaining property by deception, honey child. Lorenzo, we're going to give the police commissioner your telephone number. Let me just put your number in here in this email. 76. You know, something's got to be done about Lorenzo. So he's also wanted. Y'all need to go police and file a report for taking someone's tools and not returning them, and now can't be found. And there's some people, folks, that no amount of shaming them on social media is going to do any good. I suspect that Keith Barnes is one of those people. So CMR can post all we want. You're not getting your tools back. You're not getting your money back. I want to tell you all the cold hard truth about the situation. So, I mean, on the one hand, you might get some, I guess, I don't know, satisfaction out of knowing that he's been named and shamed. The real satisfaction, I'm sure, though, is getting your money back and your tools back. And in this case, I simply do not think that it's going to happen. Just like George, he's struggling to pay $500 back. As somebody said yesterday, remember, George, the very Cayman Islands government has this man in court for thousands of dollars owed to them. What makes y'all think that George has any money? And this is why I'm so shocked when you see these things. He's being hauled before the court for judgment debtor for writing bad checks. I'm surprised that this sort of thing is going on with George when he can be DMing women about how he wants to take care of them. And he was sending them money overseas to Jamaica to buy phone credit and go treat yourself at the salon, this, that, and the next thing. How does that make any sense when you're saying that you don't have money to pay your rent to your landlord here? You have children that you should be supporting here. You have a wife that you claim is taking a vacation in Jamaica with 3 of her best friends. Now, you notice in the message that he sent that woman, he said, oh, why did you have to tell Sandy that? You know why he has an issue with her telling me that? Because that's a lie. Y'all know by now that I should be detective. I'm not saying I'm a Sherlock Holmes, but I at least could be his assistant. The reason why that he didn't want that on the airwaves is because the wife might actually be listening to the cold hard truth on occasion. People who know her know that woman is right here in Cayman. I bet you she done gone on no vacation with 3 of her BFFs. And if she did go, he certainly didn't pay for it, but I know she not gone nowhere. He always has some excuse. Oh, I'm here by myself with the helper and the nanny. Can you come spend the weekend with me? What you need is a swift kick upside your damn head. That's what you need. Everton says that's why he doesn't have any money. Yes. He not got no money because whatever little he has, he's wasting it on all the wrong things. Folks, you can buy a woman and her parts, but when you are broke, you should leave those kind of things alone. Okay? Miss Aline says, Nancy Drew, Sandra. Yes. Alejandro says, no such transfers upon payments, yo. Yep, he's trying to impress people. And, if somebody likes you, folks, you're not going to impress them with no money. No money in the world can help you. So good luck with Keith, but I don't know. This person says, how can you be a notary in Cayman and owe government money and a poor character for George Ebanks? Oh, that's a good question. I mean, the things that I'm a notary too. No, I'm not saying that for y'all to be calling me about notarizing because I don't got time. But I must say that they don't actually ask you any question like that. What they ask you if you filed for bankruptcy, because that's like the ultimate, obviously, broke situation. But interesting that you should say that because there is an expectation that notaries are, professionals of a certain quality or caliber of individuals. I don't think he's made in the mark by any stretch of the imagination. But yes, interesting point. Interesting point. I don't know. You better find them thousands of dollars to pay government back. Okay. Let me see what else is trending this morning. Couple more minutes, about 15 minutes left in the program. Honey, chill. Oh, summer is coming up for kids. School will soon be out in another month or so. We'll talk about summer camps and what you guys got going on. I know we're going to be doing a little bit of traveling during the summer. Let me see here now. All right. Let me see what else is happening, Chia. I'm working on a couple court stories. So yesterday I went by and I read some court files. So, these things are very disturbing sometimes. Man on bail wanted by police. I don't think they found him yet. So this man, 29-year-old Kadeem Andre Jonathan. Does parents not know how to spell Jonathan? And they got it wrong. They have it spelled Johnnaton. Jonathan. Oh, that's the worst spelling of Jonathan I've ever seen. Jonathan. Somebody couldn't spell, honey child. They have 2 N's next to each other. 1 N would have sufficed. You could just say John a ton. You didn't need 2 N's. Isn't that bizarre? When I first saw it, I thought, is that a typo? That can't be the man's real name, yo. That's definitely a unique spelling. That reminds me of those, you ever seen that redneck video that's really funny? Where they're like, oh, you'll never find us. You can search on Google and you'll never find us online because of the way we spell our name. So like, yeah, her name is Crystal, but she spells it Kniezey, like the most bizarre spelling of it, right? So when she goes to apply for a job and you search by name, you'll never find that because nobody knows how Crystal is really spelt. Oh my gosh, what a hot mess. I tell you. Ooh, honey child, this is coming straight hot off the press in Jamaica. Former NCB manager who ordered to repay close to 120 million Jamaican dollars. She was convicted, this is Andrew Gordon, was convicted of swindling $34 million from the financial institution, was sentenced to 7.5 years back in 2021, has been ordered to repay close to $120 million. That's Jamaican dollars. How is she going to repay it if she's in jail, though? I mean, I guess they could do asset tracing and see if she has that. So this is interesting. So she's been ordered to pay legal costs for the bank and the Crown. Nobody here in Cayman, sometimes they'll be like, oh, just pay $100 towards court fees or whatever, but they don't force you to pay legal costs against the Crown, not in a criminal suit. So this is interesting. We need to adopt some of that. So she was sentenced to 7 years and 6 months in prison. She was convicted on 3 counts of access with intent to commit an offense under the Cyber Crime Act, 3 counts of larceny as a servant under the Larceny Act, and 7 counts of money laundering and engaging in a transaction involving criminal property. And that's part of their Proceeds of Crime Act. In jail. Believe me, you folks, theft just does not pay. Just don't do it. It really makes no sense. You will lose so much more than you could ever hope to gain. That's the saddest part. So, Keith Barnes, I don't know if you're listening, honey child, but please contact these people that you've stolen from and all kind of stuff, because I don't know. Good luck to you. So yes, if you know this fellow, this Jonathan fella, the RCIPS is looking for him. Now, what's so interesting about this is he's absconded, obviously. He was on bail in relation to a firearm incident. This is why, let me say for the record, this is why Caymanians not getting bail for these types of offenses. Not that anybody should be getting bail, in my opinion, because we've seen the expats abscond and leave the jurisdiction completely. Yeah. But he's a perfect example. Kadeem, missing, was granted bail in relation to firearms-related offense, but has failed to answer his bail conditions. Efforts to locate him thus far have been unsuccessful, and so police are now requesting the public's assistance. Can I ask the RCIPS a question? Y'all tell me if I'm a little bit off here. Can we start to get some better photos of these criminals? I don't know what kind of camera y'all are using and who the photographer are or is. The photographers are the intake process. But please, RCIPS, this cannot be the best picture that y'all have of this man on file. Come on now. Really? What kind of camera, what kind of jacked up camera y'all using? An iPhone could take a better picture than this. When someone is arrested, they go through intake process, fingerprinting, identifying marks, tattoo. Not arrested. This is, I think, when they're charged, I believe, or arrested. No, I think it's at the arrest stage that they do it, actually. But anyway, I think it's when they're arrested. Yeah, or charged. Anyway, one of the intake, when they take you down to the station or whatever. Yeah, because they might give you bail and whatever in the meantime. So I think it's when you're arrested, right? They're going to, identifying marks. If you have any tattoos, they're going to take pictures of your tattoos, all this kind of stuff. Folks, RCIPS, you got $1 million budget, multi-million-dollar budget. Please get yourself a decent camera and ensure that your staff know how to use it. I suspect this man has been, here, this one. Hey, what are you doing with my shoe? Leave my shoe alone, Zeus. I see he's barking at my shoe. That's not it. That's not a toy. You got toys right here to play with. I suspect that he's been incarcerated before. And so, you should have a stock photo of him from being, a convicted person. So why on earth is this the best that you guys have to give to the public? Even these little young girls, when they keep going missing, like the 50th time they've gone missing, I've noticed that the photos are always the same, photos that you can barely see. They're all, pixelated. My gosh. I'm like, is a half sight impaired person the ones taking this picture? Because they could even do a better job than this. No, sir. Boy, I tell you. Miss Aline says it's about time. That's my bank back home. White collar criminals. Oh, yeah. Alejandro says they're using webcams. Even webcams are taking better pictures than this now. So I don't know. I'm not sure what they're using, but I would like for you to try to use something a little bit better. Might be helpful. Can't even tell the color of his eyes. Well, he's got dark brown eyes, as most people of color do. So, yeah. What a hot mess. Anyway, if you see this man, they say to simply call 911. He's considered dangerous, so don't approach him or anything. Undoubtedly, he's hanging out somewhere and people know exactly where he is. The RCIPS just need to get to the right person. Okay, honey. All right. All right. So work your magic there, community. Help the police get him off the streets. All right. So let's talk about what's today? Thursday? Let me see here. Let's talk about your lunch sponsored options today. This person says, oh, I may need some notary services. Good to know. Nope, forget that I said that. Oh my gosh. I ain't got time to be notarizing no documents. This person said, I had a schoolmate named Samantha. Could not spell Samantha. So they added as Stamantha. Samantha. Wow. That's when you go down to the registrar and you do a deed poll and you fix your name. And then just fix it on all your documents. No, sir. I don't know what to say about that one. And listen, depending on when you're born, sometimes people got stuff wrong. Somebody went and registered the wrong date of birth for me because back in those days, I don't want to sound like I'm 100 years old, but somebody else could go and register the child. So I think the story goes that someone did it on my mother's behalf and not necessarily her, and they got the date of my birth wrong. So initially I had a passport that said my birthday was August the 17th, and it wasn't. And so I needed to get that passport fixed, and the birth certificate needed to be corrected and all kind of stuff. So these things happened, But I would go fix my name, honey child. I'm not walking around no name looking like that. That's kind of jacked up. Okay. So other big news yesterday was DeSantis has decided that he's going to run for president of the United States of America. He actually went and filed the required documents. So you guys will know this is the guy from Florida. Oh, this election cycle is going to be crazy in America. I am just going to be focused on Cayman because I can't take the madness. So he obviously is going to be taking on Trump if Trump decides that he's going to still run for re-election, which he says that he would. And I know he's been doing some fundraising. So he had a Miami event yesterday that drew protests and attacks between two rivals. Democrats and Trump supporters were both out in full force. Poor America. So this took place down in Florida. Ron DeSantis, they did a protest march on Brickell Avenue from Brickell Park to the Four Seasons in Miami on Wednesday, yesterday. I don't know what to say, but good luck. Florida governor, he's already very, very controversial. And people see him as maybe even being worse than Trump, if there's such a thing. I think why he might be worse is he's not as dumb as Trump. Trump is really not that smart. I don't care what y'all think. Everybody's like, oh, Trump is a genius. He's so rich. He's a crook. And he's got lawyers and he's surrounded by people who, once you have access to money, or not even money, once you have access to line of credit, because there are banks who've been loaning Trump money when they shouldn't have. He's filed bankruptcy so many times, but he's able to sell them on that Trump name, honey child, the Trump dream. And so they keep loaning him money that they know he cannot return, and he's not going to be able to pay it. He just got a, $30 million judgment against that woman. And you saw what he did. The second he lost the case, he went out there and defamed the woman the following day, made defamatory comments. She's suing him now for that again. It's like the man can't learn. So her and her lawyer have filed another suit. You can imagine. And that's in relation to his comments about losing the first suit for sexual assault against this woman. He's not going to have no money. And he might be going to jail on top of it. So anyway, we'll see the showdown between DeSantis and Trump. See how crazy Americans really are. This guy wore a sign that says, I want reparations from every moron that voted for Biden. Oh my gosh, the polarization in American politics has really escalated to like a crazy degree. And they have a group called Blacks for Trump. And they were having a bit of a discussion with the police. And these police officers, they don't care if you're black for Trump and you're black for Biden, you're black. So you better step back, honey child, because you know them already. They're beyond trigger happy. So they're bold, thinking because they're black for Trump that somehow that's going to save their lives. I'm over here sipping my water. Like, good luck with that theory. See, I'm there, black for Trump. Yes, sir. Go right ahead. Them officers are going to show you what they stand for. Trump got poor when he was in office, says Alejandro. Ms. Sue says Trump, big crook and a racist too. He needs to go to jail. Biden got richer and caused so much pollution and blowing up the oil line with Russia. What? Alejandro, you need to fact check some of the stuff you be saying, honey Joe. Everton says in Florida, he's erasing Black history by banning all Black books and Black culture. What a mess. Good luck, America. I'm just stepping on your soil to pick up a few packages from my mailbox, do a little bit of shopping, and then adios. We're not interested in staying. So sad. I lived in America, and you guys know it has a soft spot in my heart. Oh, my Lord. Anywho, folks, that's pretty much the program for you today. We were going to have a guest on who was involved in that hit and run, but they're taking the advice of the RCIPS. And the RCIPS is, don't do any press right now. Don't do any interviews. We'll find the culprits. Sure you will. You're going to find them without the help of the people in the community. Y'all have a beautiful day. Be safe out there in these streets, honey child. Until tomorrow, we're supposed to have premier access tomorrow. Be good.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Cold Hard Truth on Bobo 89.1 FM. Cayman's #1 talk show is live weekdays from 7:30 a.m. Never miss an episode again. Watch anytime on CMR's Facebook and YouTube channels for the latest show episodes. Don't forget to follow us online on our social media channels. And visit CaymanMarlRoad.com for all the latest news and community happenings.